Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. The End of the World, Reviving Humanity. Many Children and Many Blessings. Chapter 21. Don't be afraid, don't be nervous, take a deep breath, you are the best. Spark City, Medical Department. Looking at Yi Miao being pushed into the delivery room, Chen Chu gave her a final cheer. Okay, Achu, just wait here and leave it to me, everything will be fine. Seeing Chen Chu, who was even more nervous than Yi Miao, Su Lan comforted him in a funny way. Then, the delivery room door was closed, leaving Chen Chu outside. Husband, Sister Yi will be fine. Da Chao, Xiao Chao and the other 5 concubines gathered around Chen Chu to comfort him. Chen Chu waved his hand. I'm fine, I'm not nervous. Xiao Chao took out a handkerchief and carefully wiped the sweat from Chen Chu's forehead. Sister Su Lan is a powerful B+ level wood medical practitioner. It is very easy for her to deliver babies. Husband, don't worry. Chen Chu showed a reluctant smile. Well, he was nervous, extremely nervous. Although he has been a man for 2 generations, he has never been a father. I simply don't know how to describe this feeling. Both scared and more looking forward to it. My son, I heard that my daughter-in-law is giving birth. A thunderous voice came from the other side of the corridor. It was Chen Lei who came after hearing the news. Well, we've already entered the delivery room. Chen Lei sat down next to Chen Chu. Look at him sweating profusely from nervousness. Chen Lei smiled handsomely, lit a cigar, and talked. Son, don't be nervous. Remember, when your mother gave birth to you, the conditions were very difficult. How could there be such a high-end delivery room as it is now, and there are B+ level medical superpowers to deliver the baby? It's just an elderly grandma who uses scissors and hot water to deliver babies. I watched you come out of your mother's belly with my own eyes without even blinking. Chen Chu's mouth twitched. Dad, before you say this, can your hand holding the cigar stop shaking? Chen Lei looked down and saw that his palms were shaking uncontrollably, almost extinguishing his cigar. He smiled awkwardly. Who can not be nervous when he is about to welcome his grandson? This kind of excitement and anticipation originating from the depths of blood is an absolutely instinctive reaction. Moreover, this child is Chen Lei's first grandson and Chen Chu's first child. Just like that, Chen Lei and Chen Chu were waiting anxiously outside the delivery room. Chen Lei's cigars were gone one by one, and Chen Chu couldn't help but pace back and forth outside the delivery room. I do not know how long it has been. Suddenly, several exclamations came from the delivery room. What's wrong? Chen Chu, who was near the door of the delivery room, stepped forward, opened the door and rushed in. As soon as he entered the door, a feeling of coldness surrounded him. The temperature inside the delivery room is at least 20 degrees lower than outside. Fortunately, nothing happened to Yi Miao. This. The nurse holding the baby on the side opened her eyes wide and was so surprised that she couldn't speak. Child, Chen Chu strode forward. I saw a naked little baby, covered in cold air. The nurse holding him had her hands frozen with stiffness. The birth of the host's offspring is detected, talent, S, potential, SS. The reward is successfully distributed to the host, please check. The system rang in Chen Chu's ears. S-level talent, absolute 0. Chen Chu remembered the rewards in the previous novice gift package. This child's talent is S-level ice. Don't be afraid. Su Lan stepped forward. Put the child from the nurse's hands to Chen Chu's. Then she covered the nurse's hand, which had been frozen into a popsicle, with her palm, and a green light lit up. The nurse's arm returned to its original shape. Achu, your child is so capable. Su Lan's tone was weak and excited. Because this is the birth of Chen Chu's first child. So Su Lan used supernatural powers throughout the delivery process. Reduce Yi Miao's pain, protect Yi Miao, protect the baby, and at the same time observe the changes in the physical status of Yi Miao and the baby in real time. To ensure that Yi Miao and the baby will not be harmed in any way. This process already consumed a lot of her energy. And the arm of the nurse who had just rescued her was hollowed out. But she was also very surprised. Although she didn't have much energy left from the supernatural power just now, it was actually consumed by a baby. Ice-type S-level talent. Looking at the child in his hand, Chen Chu smiled. S rank. It's still ice-type. Su Lan covered her mouth in surprise. In the last days, an S-level supernatural person almost represented a huge city. And the supernatural beings of the ice system are the absolute darlings in the last days of the glacier. Ah Chu can really revive human beings. Su Lan looked at Chen Chu, her beautiful eyes shining brightly. We must let Ah Chu work hard to marry a wife and take concubines. Is my little grandson all right? Chen Lei came over. When he saw the baby, he was taken aback, then laughed. Haha, it's a kid. But why is this kid's eyes so wide open? I remember when your kid was just born, his eyes were closed. Everyone looked around. The little baby who was just born in the middle was actually waiting with two round eyes, looking at the world curiously. Even when they saw Chen Chu and Chen Lei, they would laugh, lololo. Chen Lei is a vulgar person, and he doesn't care about this strangeness. He laughed and gave a conclusion. It must be my grandson who is a great genius. He opened his eyes and smiled when he was born. Su Lan on the side looked serious. Yes, Ah Chu, your child's breath of life is dozens of times stronger than that of ordinary babies. Dozens of times. Chen Chu was surprised. Then he thought of the system's evaluation just now. Potential. SS. There is no doubt that this child is a genius beyond his father, even beyond Zhang Fenju. Husband, let me see. Yi Miao's weak voice came from behind. Chen Chu came to her and squatted down beside her with the child in his arms, looking at the two mothers dotingly. Son, it's so pretty, just like your husband. Yi Miao's eyes were full of smiles. Husband, please give the child a name. Name. Chen Chu was taken aback. He looked at the nurse whose hands had been frozen just now, looked at the frost falling in the air, and felt the temperature was significantly lower than outside. Just call Chen Han. Yi Miao reached out to tease the baby in her arms. Han, Xiaohan. Lololo. Chen Han smiled cutely. Ha ha ha, okay, my good grandson is an S-level genius. Chen Lei on the side laughed. Originally guessed that it was likely to be A-level. When she was born, she turned out to be S-rank. This was a big surprise for him. With this wonderful grandson, Starfire City can be rejuvenated for another 100 years. At this time, Chen Lei had the same idea as Su Lan. Must let this stinky boy, Chen Chu, marry more wives and concubines, more children and more blessings. As for Chen Chu, after he confirmed the name of the good child, the system tone sounds again. The name of the heir has been confirmed. The property panel of the offspring has been opened. The attribute of the heir has been generated. Children panel. Name Chen Han. Identity eldest son. Talent S-level ice type absolute 0. Potential SS. Skills none. Host panel. Name Chen Chu. Talent S-level space system. Potential D. Skills teleportation, storage, cutting. There are two more panels in the multi-child duofu system. One is the newly born eldest son Chen Han, and the other is Chen Chu himself. Comparing the two panels, Chen Chu couldn't help but clicked his tongue. Everything is good up front, why is my potential so low? Chen Chu now also understands the difference between talent and potential. Talent, to put it bluntly, means what level is awakened and what kind of power is awakened. Potential represents a person's physical level. The eldest son, Chen Han, has SS level potential. His life concentration is dozens of times that of his peers, and he can open his eyes, smile, and release supernatural powers as soon as he is born. This kind of potential makes his body like a monster. Not only does he learn things quickly and has abnormal physical fitness, but he also understands anything much deeper than others. And Chen Chu himself, potential D. No wonder I have learned ancient martial arts for so many years and am still not good at it. He just knows a few moves and can fight against a few ordinary strongmen, but it is impossible to fight against people with superpowers. Moreover, Chen Chu also suspected that a large part of the credit for his D-level physical potential was due to the fact that his father had given him a lot of extraordinary food over the years. Otherwise, I would just be an ordinary person. It's true that the superior is inferior to the old, and the inferior is inferior to the young. Chen Chu shook his head and smiled half-jokingly. Although my initial talent is not good, fortunately, I have a system. As long as you marry a wife and take concubines, you will have many children and good luck. One day I will stand on the top of the world. And there are rewards yet to be claimed. Chen Chu thought silently in his heart to receive it. When Chen Han was born, the system rewarded him. Talent S, potential SS. For such a talented heir, the reward would not be bad. Reward received successfully. High quality life improvement +1. High quality superpower improvement +1. High quality potential increased +1. At the same time as the three system sounds sounded, three extremely ethereal rays, accompanied by a comfortable and numb feeling, rose up in his body. After a while, the numbness disappeared. Chen Chu opened his eyes. Two rays of light that were not visible to ordinary people shot out of his eyes. He exhaled a long white breath. High-quality life improvement has made my physique stronger and increased my lifespan. The high-quality superpower upgrade not only promoted me to a third-level superpower, but also optimized the superpower energy, removed the impurities that previously absorbed the zombie crystal nuclei, and compressed it. The quality and quantity of superpower energy are now more than 10 times of the same level. High-quality potential improvement has changed my potential from D level to B level. It spans 2 major stages. After award acceptance is complete, Chen Chu immediately clearly felt the changes in his body. And when he opened the properties panel, he saw that the potential line had really changed from D to B. The ability is enhanced, the body becomes stronger, and the strength is enhanced. This is the benefit brought by the birth of the eldest son Chen Han. Chen Chu was overjoyed, because Chen Han is not the only heir for him. Little Chow is 2 months away from giving birth to twins, and Big Chow is still 3 months away from giving birth. And the other 5 concubines are also working hard. These are just for the moment. Dad is still preparing for his next concubine. Therefore, there will be more and more concubines, and more children. There will be more and more rewards. It's unimaginable to add up like this. Reaching the pinnacle of the apocalypse, this doesn't seem to be a difficult task. Thinking of this, the corners of Chen Chu's mouth curled up unconsciously. Not only enhance physical potential and talent, but also increase lifespan. It is imperative to marry a wife and take concubines to have more children and more blessings. Because of the system's cover-up and the attention of the people around him on the eldest son, Chen Han, no one noticed these amazing changes in Chen Chu. It just feels that he has become more handsome and radiant than before. However, they all thought that it was probably due to the joy on their faces after having a child. What a good grandson, what a good grandson. Chen Lei kept murmuring while hugging his grandson. A strong man with a fierce reputation in the last days unexpectedly had a thin layer of water mist in his eyes at this time. Son, Chen Lei's broad palm fell heavily on Chen Chu's shoulder. The tears of excitement in his eyes glistened under the light of the light. You gave birth to a good child. With this child, Xingwo City can flourish for another 50 years. You kid can continue to be the second generation. Ha ha, ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Chen Leihao laughed loudly. A smile appeared on the corner of Chen Chu's mouth. He knew that the birth of the eldest son, Chen Han, solved a major concern of his father. How cruel is the end of the glacier. When he was young, Chen Lei made a great reputation. Although it made a piece of the sky, it also made a lot of enemies. These years, with him in charge, the enemies dare not show their heads. But his boy Chen Chu is an ordinary person. If decades later, he dies, then what will happen to Chen Chu? Even if you think about it with your ass, you will know. So Chen Lei has been collecting extraordinary things for Chen Chu like crazy all these years. Eliminate dissidents in Starfire City and cultivate confidence. Select orphans with good talents and cultivate secret guards who are loyal to Chen Chu. Everything is for Chen Chu to enjoy a few more years of happiness after 100 years. It's all right now. My kid gave birth to a grandson with S-level talent. He has also been promoted to an 8th order powerhouse. There is enough time to cultivate grandson into a strong man who surpasses himself. The top is supported by myself, and the bottom is supported by a good grandson. Chen Chu can live in peace for 100 years in the last days. How did this make Chen Lei unhappy? How not to get excited? He held Chen Han like he was holding the most precious treasure in the world. Son, your father wanted to do a lot of things but couldn't do them before, but now, your father wants to do them. We need to collect land and stockpile supplies. marry a wife and take concubines for your boy, have more children and more blessings, and revive mankind. Chen Lei laughed. Chen Chu also laughed. He knew that his father had been paving the way for himself all these years. Now there is a way out. Then it's time to move forward. My own mother has the great wish to revive mankind. My father, Leihuo, would rather be mediocre for the rest of his life. Chen Chu knew that Zhonghai City was about to experience huge waves that would change the world. Of course, what Chen Chu is looking forward to more is the change in his quality of life. The prince of the giant city. It seems better. He smiled, his eyes twinkling. Dad is an 8th level powerhouse. The eldest son is an S-level talent. But actually, the biggest tiger is himself. It's a great feeling to be behind the scenes, to guide everything. If someone who doesn't have long eyes bumps into him, he doesn't mind trying to see if his fangs are sharp first. Yi Miao gave birth to a child, and the mother and child are safe. And the son is a super genius. With a wave of Chen Lei's hand, Xingwo City was filled with lively celebrations. In Chen Lei's words, "I've worked hard all these years to celebrate my grandson's birthday, what's wrong?" It was bustling outside, and Chen Chu accompanied the weak Yi Miao in the medical department with the rest of the concubines. As for the eldest son, Chen Han, he was taken away by Su Lan and a series of inspections were carried out. The baby was just born, although the concentration of life was ridiculously strong, and it was able to use abilities. But there are still checks that should be done. After all, Chen Han is not only Chen Chu's eldest son, but also will be the mainstay of Spark City in the future, so he can't be careless. After the examination, Su Lan rushed into the ward excitedly with the report and Chen Han. Achoo! She waved the report in her hand, her face flushed slightly with excitement. The D class in front of him jumped up and down. 50 times. Xiaohan's life concentration is 50 times that of other babies. S level. Xiaohan's talent is really S level, and it's a mutant ice type, absolute 0. Looking at other indicators, Xiaohan is also a genius among geniuses. Looking at Su Lan who was panting in front of her, Chen Chu hugged Chen Han in her hand with a smile, and put it in Yi Miao's arms. With the existence of the attribute panel, he knows the situation of his eldest son like the back of his hand. And he also knew that Su Lan didn't check it out. Chen Han potential SS. Much stronger than the average S-level ability user. Although Chen Chu didn't care, the other concubines behind him watched the report for a long time. Afterwards, all eyes on Yi Miao were full of envy. Yi Miao, husband's regular wife, she is a B+ level talent, and she gave birth to a son who is an S-level talent, and can use supernatural powers right after birth. And was praised by the old man Chen Lei, it can make Xingwo City flourish for another 50 years. Everyone knew that Yi Miao's status was unshakable. While all the concubines were envious, they all looked at their stomachs in unison. I hope my stomach can live up to my expectations. Especially the upcoming production of Big Joe and Little Joe. The other 5 concubines who were not pregnant looked at Chen Chu with fiery eyes. We must work harder to conceive your husband's child. At the same time, Yi Miao on the hospital bed exclaimed. Husband, do you think our Xiaohan's hair has grown? I don't remember it being so long just now. When Chen Chu saw it, it was true that the hair was thicker than when he was just born. Is this one of the effects of 50 times the concentration of life? Good grandson, can you tell Grandpa what you are doing? Spark City, inside Chen Chu's residence. Chen Lei hugged Chen Han who was just full moon, and the wrinkles on his face were piled up with a smile. Grandpa, I'm practicing. What was shocking was that Chen Han, who had just had a full moon, actually spoke. And he didn't look like a baby who was just full moon and weak at all. A head of jet black hair, fair skin, and round eyes rolling around. What's more, Chen Han, who has just had a full moon, is actually 90 centimeters tall. Comparable to other 2-year-olds. If someone were to identify him, they would definitely say that the child was 2 or 3 years old. But Chen Han really just had a full moon. He was able to speak and speak when he was 7 days old, and he was like a little adult, able to communicate normally with others. At this moment, he folded his hands together, with a serious expression, and was doing what he called practicing. The child's serious look made him laugh at Chen Lei, who was already an 8th level powerhouse. He cheerfully replied, Xiao Han is awesome, then you should practice quickly, and when you grow up, you will fight for territory with Grandpa, okay? Chen Han, who just had a full moon, nodded solemnly and said with a serious face, okay. Go grab the territory with Grandpa. Yes, it's true. Chen Lei was overjoyed. Come on, Grandpa will take you out for a walk. Chen Lei lifted him to his neck and left the house. With the help of Earth-type supernatural beings, Chen Chu's residence was built very quickly. After returning from Raging Fire City, you can directly check in. Chen Lei and his grandson walked all the way along Tubu. Chen Lei's bold laugh and Chen Han's immature lolo sounded in the space. Roar! Suddenly, the earth wall in front of the two of them broke open, and the ugly dwarf beast barked its teeth and claws, roaring sharply. Chen Lei was stunned. Yo, the underground beasts that don't enter the rank dare to scare my grandson, do you want to die? The end of the glacier is cruel. The world is frozen, zombies broke out, and monsters are rampant. And even if humans hide underground beasts that can travel underground will appear from time to time. Chen Lei once heard that a huge city was destroyed overnight by an extremely powerful underground beast. During that time, all the survivors' camps were panicked. But fortunately, subterranean beasts generally have a strong sense of territory, so they won't easily leave their territory. And the thoughtless, non-level underground beast in front of him probably lost his way. This kind of small beast, as long as an adult is brave enough to deal with it, the combat power is not strong. For an 8th level powerhouse like Chen Lei, it was nothing more than a slightly larger ant. Just when he was about to kill this short-sighted guy who frightened his little grandson, Chen Han, the little guy riding on his neck, shouted, "Grandpa, run away, let me beat it." Although the little guy can communicate with people, he doesn't know many words and can only use some simple words. Chen Lei laughed and turned his head, wanting to tease his grandson. But as soon as he turned his head, he felt the temperature around him drop by 10 degrees instantly. His grinning grandson just now. At this time, his eyes were glaring white, and his face was serious. "I want to protect Grandpa." A childish baby sound came. 3 sharp icicles immediately condensed behind Chen Han. With a wave of his little hand, the ice pick pierced out. With a scream, the little monster that was not as good as a first-order monster was immediately chilled by 3 ice picks. The inconceivable Chen Lei watched with his own eyes his grandson, who had just reached the full moon. A ray of light rose from his body after slaughtering a monster. 1.1 First Order Ability User. That ray of light is a sign that the supernatural being has been promoted to the 1st level. His grandson, who was just full moon, was promoted to a 1st Order supernatural being after killing monsters with his bare hands. A mighty 8th level powerhouse, but Chen Lei was dumbfounded. I have a grandson of full moon's 1st Order supernatural being. And the talent is still S rank. Others are numb. Then came ecstasy. The bearded face kept approaching Chen Han's face. "Grandpa, za." Xiao Chen Han tried his best to dodge, but to no avail. "Ha ha ha. This is not a genius, this is clearly a perverted monster. Ha 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 ha." At the same time, Chen Chu, who was still asleep, trembled. "What's the matter, husband?" The 2 concubines approached with concern. Their faces were ruddy, and there was some apology in their eyes. "Did I make my husband too tired last night with my sisters?" But Chen Chu woke up with a dazed expression. Because he just received a system prompt. It is detected that Chen Han, the eldest son of the host, has been promoted to a 1st level ability user, and the feedback rewards the host for the improvement of his ability. The host's current ability level, mid-tier 3. In the practice room, Chen Chu stood proudly and looked full of energy. Over these days, although the number of concubines has increased. But since the last time Chen Han was born and received system rewards in terms of abilities, life, and potential, his whole person has undergone earth-shaking changes. Especially in terms of masculinity, having 8 wives and concubines at the same time is no problem at all. The increase in my descendants' strength will actually be reflected back on me. Chen Chu murmured, feeling the space in his mind expand again. His wife Yi Miao gave birth to Chen Han. Chen Chu received the reward and became a 3rd-level superpower user, and the quality and quantity of superpower energy were more than 10 times that of the same level. The strength is greatly enhanced. And after the eldest son Chen Han was promoted to a first-level superpower. Chen Chu received the feedback reward, and his strength improved again, entering the middle of the third level. The feedback reward energy is not much. The big reward is to get a wife and have children. Although the offspring's strength has improved and the rewards given back to Chen Chu are not many. But Chen Chu also noticed a problem. Feedback from a scion is not much. But what if there are 10? What about 100? If you add it up like this, it will be an unimaginable spectacle. Every time you have an additional heir, your life, potential, and abilities will be improved. Coupled with the feedback from his descendants on his improvement in strength. If this continues, let alone the pinnacle of the apocalypse. I'm afraid, I can become a god. What kind of strength will it be in the middle of the third level? Chen Chu murmured as he looked at his increasingly powerful body. A thought came to mind. Teleport. Chen Chu immediately appeared on the edge of the practice room. And when he wanted to teleport again, the environment behind the wall of the practice room suddenly appeared in his mind. This is a new skill, perception. He can convert all the environment within 10 meters around him into a model in his mind, so as to fight better. With the new skills and teleportation, you are simply invincible. In the apocalypse of the glacier, the vast expanse of snow blocks human sight. Survive in the cave and expand your territory. You may dig treasures or the lair of underground beasts. With the skill of perception, Chen Chu can avoid these dangers. Perception. As his mind moved, the situation outside the thick walls of the practice room instantly came into Chen Chu's mind. Teleport. The superpower was activated, and the next moment, he appeared directly outside the practice room. Teleport. In the blink of an eye, he was back in the practice room again. Just the combination of these two skills, let alone a fourth-level superpower, even a fifth-level superpower will not be my opponent. I can also fight for several rounds at the sixth level. A strong sense of confidence flashed in Chen Chu's eyes. The concentration and amount of his supernatural energy are 10 times that of the same level. It can fight against fourth-level superpowers that are one level higher. And my own power is a special space system, and it's level S. Perception, teleportation, cutting. After a set of skills, sixth-level superpower users must also be careful. Then, Chen Chu tried several other skills. The power is greatly increased. Cut, can cut through zombie crystal nuclei that are harder than diamond. It seems like it's more than that. Chen Chu carefully understood his physical condition after his abilities were improved. I can hide it in the storage space. A flash of light flashed through him, and he realized something. The storage space in the middle of the third level in my mind has expanded to 10,000 cubic meters. Some living supplies and some firearms are randomly placed in the huge space. The original storage space could only store dead objects, not living objects. When items enter it, time stops and they will not decay. Everything is exactly the same as before it was put in. For example, if you put food in a month ago, and take it out a month later, it will still be steaming hot. Chen Chu has always regarded this as a portable warehouse. But now he suddenly discovered that his body could also enter it. In the apocalypse, this is simply a big deal. You provoke a powerful enemy, hide in space and live freely, and then burn him to death. Or, during the battle, hide in the space so that the enemy can't figure it out. Chen Chu continues to explore this powerful skill. Then, he discovered a magical skill set. Space plus perception plus teleportation. He hid his body in the space, used perception to observe the external environment, and then used teleportation to move. The combination of the three skills greatly increased Chen Chu's confidence in himself. There is also a chance of winning against sixth-level superpowers. With such a powerful ability, he dared to say that even if he faced a sixth-level superpower alone, he would still have the upper hand. But the combination of three skills consumes a lot of energy. 10 minutes later, Chen Chu came out of the space. Without it, powerful skills consume huge amounts of energy. What's more, Chen Chu has always been a combination of three powerful skills. The reason he was able to persist for 10 minutes was because of the quality and quantity of his superpowers. If other power users of the same level came, they probably wouldn't be able to last a minute. The superpower strength alone is probably equivalent to the mid-sixth level of other superpowers. And the physical strength, strength, agility, defense and other three-dimensional strengths are equivalent to their respective fourth-level superpowers. After a series of experiments, Chen Chu also understood his own strength. Overall, he is probably the top powerhouse among sixth-level superpowers. Who dares to think that a year ago he was just an ordinary person who had eaten too many extraordinary things? 1 year later, he suddenly became a figure comparable to the top 6th-level experts. I heard that the transition from the 6th level to the 7th level is a natural chasm. It seems that although the strength has been greatly improved, one should not be overly presumptuous. But with Dad, a powerful 8th-level man, supporting me from the outside, I can live and develop with peace of mind. Chen Chu nodded secretly with deep approval. Before his own strength can surpass everything, he must work hard to develop. And efforts to develop must be based on the 12-character mantra. Marry a wife, take concubines, have many children, and be blessed. Work hard. Haha, are you ready to let go of that brat? In the hall, Chen Lei played with his grandson Chen Han. When he saw Chen Chu coming out of the practice room, he made fun of him. Your father and I are both 8th-level experts, and we have such a perverted, genius grandson. You kid, just stop practicing that ancient martial arts and just have fun. Quote. Chen Chu sat down next to him, smiled and said nothing. If his father knew that his strength was comparable to that of a top-level 6th-level warrior, he would be stunned. Chen Lei held up his grandson, his eyes full of doting. This is a monster genius who was promoted to the 1st level just after 1 month. Are the other 2 daughters-in-law giving birth soon? Chen Lei asked aloud. Chen Chu stuffed the banana into his mouth at will and replied incoherently. Ang, Xiao Chao is next month, and Da Chao is next month. I heard from Shaolin that the 3 children about to be born are all superpowers. Ang, that's what Sister Lan said. Okay, I have 4 great-grandchildren all at once. Chen Lei narrowed his eyes. Originally we planned to expand our business slowly, but now we have more and more good grandchildren, and we can no longer squeeze into this 3/3 of an acre of land. Chen Lei carefully placed his grandson in Chen Chu's hands. You kid, just wait, I'm going out now to conquer the world for you and steal your wives and concubines. After saying that, he rushed out of the door in a hurry. Chen Chu was left with a confused look on his face. What the hell? And Xiao Chen Han showed 2 small fangs. Luo smiled and waved his white hands. He shouted childishly at Chen Lei's retreating back. Grandpa hits. Grandpa hits. Seize the territory. Seize the territory. Since leaving Chen Chu's residence last time, Chen Lei began to integrate all the combat forces in Starfire City with great fanfare, mobilize equipment, and arrange logistics. It looks like it's ready for a big fight. Father, I thought you would hide the news of your promotion to the 8th rank, so that it would be convenient for a sneak attack later, but I didn't expect you to make it public in advance. At the dining table, Chen Chu looked at his father. Ever since Dad decided to expand Xingwo City and snatch his supernatural wives and concubines for him, the time to see him is getting less and less. Now they are all sneaking in from their busy schedules, and it is rare to get together during meal time. Ha 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 ha, Chen Lei laughed. Brat, this is called tactics. The places we plan to attack are all medium-sized, small-scale cities, and several large-scale cities. There is no need to be sly about this kind of opponent. I will break the news of my promotion in advance, and all the cities will panic. I remember reading a book before the end of the world. It's called Surrender Without Fighting. Chen Lei sips meat, and sips wine very boldly. Chen Chu smash it, smash your mouth. This is true. What is the most important thing in the last days? Talent. Those who have the ability to build a city, no matter what, there are always some supernatural beings. And most of those who can live for so long in the last days will spare their lives. The news of Dad's promotion to the 8th level ability user was released. Take a look at these supernatural beings. Let me go, the 8th order powerhouse is coming to attack my small city. Quickly took out all the old bottoms, knelt at the gate of the city, and begged for his life. And so it is. Chen Lei was still in the preparation stage, and before he left the city, he received a bunch of surrender letters. Batches of supplies were sent to Starfire City. But Chen Lei is still ready to go. With such a big move, how many truckloads of supplies have he sent away? And who can guarantee that these cities will truly surrender? What if it is a delay strategy? In addition to solving some difficult ideas, subduing the supernatural beings, and supplementing the combat power of Starfire City, it is also necessary to examine the actual situation of these cities in detail. The cities to be attacked are all around the Starfire City. Starfire City wants to develop into a giant city. So it's not just as simple as materials, but also the number of supernatural beings, the size of the camp, and the population. This time out of the city, the important things are these few things. Didn't I give you 5 concubines last time? Why is there no movement at all? Brat, work harder. After eating and drinking, the father suddenly gave birth. The land is getting bigger and bigger, and my strength is getting stronger and stronger. You can give me more good grandchildren to inherit the family business. And taking advantage of this expansion, I want to give you dozens of concubines. Chen Chu supported his forehead. 3 of the 5 concubines are already pregnant, and the other 2 went to see Sisterland this morning, so there should be no accidents. Marrying a wife and taking concubines, having more children and more blessings is a big deal for Chen Chu. It is indeed a good opportunity for Dad to go out of the city to expand this time. It just so happens that all my concubines are pregnant now, so I really should take concubines again. Ha ha ha. Good boy, good. You are indeed the seed of our old Chen family. You wait, I will definitely give you a few more concubines this time. Make sure you are beautiful, clean, in good health, and a supernatural being. Chen Lei didn't delay, and stood up with a big smile. He pinched Chen Han's immature face with his big rough hand, and then walked out the door with a big laugh. Chen Han's tender and white face immediately became slightly red and swollen. He was giggling with his 2 small front teeth showing, but now he was so aggrieved that he shrunk his small mouth and cried loudly. Chen Lei's hearty laugh came from outside the restaurant. Since the last dinner together, Chen Lei led the team to set off with great fanfare. The entire Xingwo city is in charge of Chen Chu. Chen Chu, on the other hand, is a character who plays the second generation of dudes steadily. Because the people who stay in Starfire City are basically ordinary people, they don't have the ability to go out of the city and go to the ground. You can only build Spark City underground every day and pay for your labor. The entire Starfire City developed in an orderly manner. Before Chen Lei left, he also gave a general direction for the city's operation, and Chen Chu did not need to make any decisions. Moreover, ordinary people have no ability to fight against superpowers, and there is no time to stage any violent rebellion. Of course, what is more important is that the lives of the citizens in Spark City are getting better and better. Chen Lei was promoted to the 8th rank powerhouse. The surrender of the surrounding cities. The camp was constantly being expanded. The materials were transported in by truck. Their salaries have gradually increased, and their quality of life has naturally improved. Of course, everyone is nostalgic for the days when Chen Chu took concubines. Free supplies, luxurious fresh vegetables. That life is simply heaven. As for Chen Chu, he is in heaven. He spends the whole day playing and enjoying himself with his wife and concubines. But because several other concubines are pregnant, so Chen Chu could only play with Yi Miao, who had given birth. Yi Miao is AB level 4th level psychic, and has Sulan's full care. So the body recovers quickly after giving birth. And because I haven't had a clear relationship with Chen Chu for a year, I am particularly enthusiastic now. And not long after living like this, the day came when Xiao Chao gave birth. Don't worry, sister, you will be fine. Sister Su Lan is a very powerful medical practitioner. Outside the delivery room, Da Chao held Xiao Chao's hand and comforted her while holding her belly. Chen Chu also took her hand and patted it gently. It's okay, everything is up to me. Xiao Chao is pregnant with twins, which does make people nervous. However, Chen Chu has experienced this for the first time and is much calmer now. And she has confidence in Su Lan's medical skills. Well, my husband. With Chen Chu's encouragement, Xiao Chao felt much better. Chen Chu kissed her on the forehead. So Su Lan pushed her into the delivery room. The red light above the delivery room door is on. Then came another long wait. The waiting time this time was longer than Yi Miao last time. Chen Chu finished smoking a whole pack of Farong Wong, but the operation was not over yet. Husband, it's okay. Yi Miao's gentle voice sounded in his ears. Chen Chu nodded. This time, 2 children were born at once. He is about to become a father of 3. And the rest of the concubines are about to give birth. Big Zhou is expected to produce next month. Among the other 5 concubines, 3 were 2 months pregnant and 2 were 1 month pregnant. It won't be long before his children will be born one after another. And along with it, there will be rewards from the system of having more children and more blessings. Daddy's strength has improved, and Starfire City is expanding rapidly. I really need to improve my strength as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Chen Chu's mood became much more relaxed. She even vaguely began to look forward to the talents of the 2 children after Xiao Chao gave birth to twins, as well as the rewards the system would give. Despair. The lights outside the delivery room turned green. The door was pushed open. Su Lan walked out from inside. She took off her mask. Her tired eyes were filled with excitement and joy. Ah Chu, mother and child are safe. Twins. Twins. Having both sons and daughters will directly lead to the senior position. 2 nurses walked out of the delivery room holding 2 adorable babies. Chen Chu hurriedly hugged each other with one hand, overjoyed. Although these 2 children are not as abnormal as the eldest son Chen Han was born. It's snowflakes falling from the sky again, and it's great joy to open your eyes again. But there are still things that are different from ordinary people. The most obvious feature is that there is a lot of hair, more than ordinary babies. With Chen Chu's current 3-dimensional quality, he could keenly feel that the 2 children exuded a faint aura of supernatural powers. Although it is not as rich as the eldest son Chen Han, it is not bad either. What kind of superpower will it be? Chen Chu just came up with this idea. A pleasant system tone will sound. Detect that the host has added 2 heirs and issue rewards. The talents of the host's offspring are detected as follows: B+ level Psychic Master, B level Zombie Immunity, and 3-dimensional reward distribution. Rewards arrive. Chen Chu's eyes lit up, and the smile on his already cheerful face became even brighter. After 10 months of waiting, it was finally time to draw. B+ level and B level, not bad. B level talents are really good in the apocalypse. Not everyone is as perverted as the 2 Zhang sisters. B level superpowers are already considered the mainstay in the apocalypse. Even in a giant city, he can still serve as an upper middle class figure. His eldest son, Chen Han, would still be a B level without the blessing of the system novice gift pack. Xiao Chao is a D level superpower, and I am an S level. In the end, I gave birth to 2 B level children. It seems like what Sister Lan said, it is necessary to choose wives with high superpower levels. Chen Chu said. Think. At the same time, he saw one was B+ and the other was B. I also understood that the level of superpowers of children born from the same wives and concubines is not fixed. There are certain fluctuations. Da Chao is about to give birth next month. I wonder what grade the baby will be. Will it also be B? Or will it break through to A? Chen Chu was looking forward to it. Most of the other 5 wives and concubines were EF, with the highest being D, so Chen Chu didn't have high expectations. Another reason is that it is still early for the 5 wives and concubines to give birth, so there is not much use in looking forward to it now. But the more children I have, the stronger my strength will be, so it is still necessary to have more concubines. But in the glacial apocalypse, human behavior is blocked, travel is difficult, and it is difficult to reach people in more places. Therefore, it is not easy to accept a high-level concubine. Among his current wives, the one with the highest level of superpower is Yi Miao, with a B+ level. Su Lan and Lu Ruyan, who are most promising to become his little wives, are both B+ grade. This is already the highest level woman he can come into contact with now. Thinking of this, Zhang Qingshui couldn't help but appear in Chen Chu's mind. SS level hidden talent, body of an angel. This is definitely the highest level he has ever seen in the apocalypse. And the appearance, figure, and temperament are all first rate. If you can take her as a concubine, let alone enjoy the blessings of heaven and man. With her talent alone, she will become a great helper to him and help Spark City reach a higher level. After the 2 give birth to a son, they will definitely receive a super gift package. Chen Chu couldn't help but look forward to it. When Dad completes the expansion and Spark City becomes a giant city, we should be able to win it naturally. Spark City and Agni City already had some cooperation with each other. However, the development of Spark City was too slow before, and the cooperation between the two parties was relatively limited. Now Dad Chen Lei has been promoted to the 8th level of power, his power level has also been strengthened to A+ level, and he has gained new power effects. Become the top player in Province C. The two sides finally stood on a line of equality. Therefore, cooperation in all aspects has been greatly strengthened. The two cities are even considering building a fast track to connect each other. After all, large cities are open to the outside world. In this way, the two cities can cooperate better. However, the specific matters still have to wait for the further development of Spark City, so that the powerful Wu Wei can open the city to all the young people. Until then, Chen Chu and Zhang Qingshui seem to be the best match for each other. According to the inertia of the upper echelons of both parties, marriage is definitely a reasonable choice. I need to help Dad develop faster, otherwise it will be even more troublesome if Zhang Qingshui's talent awakens midway. SS level super talent. Agni City will definitely develop with all its strength and will not send out any marriage alliances. Although Chen Chu can also reveal his strength to the outside world when the time comes. The two powerful forces join forces. But after all, it is a bit troublesome to operate. He also wants to shrink under his father's wings first, have many children and be blessed, and achieve the most powerful position, until he is no longer afraid of anything in the end of the world, and then show his strength. First activate the rewards and increase your strength. His current strength is comparable to the top level 6 superpowers. But it's obviously not enough. After confirming that mother and child were safe, Chen Chu immediately returned to his practice room and prepared to receive the reward. Opening airs increases rewards, Chen Chu thought silently in his heart. In an instant, 2 whirlpools appeared in front of his eyes. In the center of the black vortex is a card with a question mark on it. The card flips over and finally freezes. The picture frozen on a card is a square box stacked one after another. Suddenly, a card appeared, and a faceless figure was walking. Congratulations to the host, you have received a reward, Material Warehouse X1. Congratulations to the host, you have received the reward, Elite Level Physical Skills Comprehension. The moment 2 pleasant beats fell. The 10,000 square meters of space in Chen Chu's mind was immediately filled with countless supplies. In addition to this, the muscles on his body changed rapidly. It expanded rapidly at first, and then shrank immediately before bursting the clothes. At the same time, countless battle memories quickly played through his mind. He has been practicing ancient martial arts for more than 10 years. He was originally quite good and could only perform a few moves. But now, he felt very clearly that he had mastered all the ancient martial arts he had learned. His proficiency even surpassed the ancient martial arts teacher that his father paid a lot of money to hire for him. After the body movement disappears, he took off his clothes and found that his figure had become extremely well proportioned. Although the muscles are not as big as those with powers of strength, they contain powerful explosive power. Chen Chu waved his hand casually. Several serial sonic booms were heard in the air. Then, he came to a cowhide sandbag and swung 3 points of force. Boom! There was a muffled sound. A neat punch hole appeared in the middle of the cowhide sandbag. Is this elite level physical skills understanding? Chen Chu looked at his fist and murmured. As the saying goes, a brute force punch can break rocks. A true warrior, however, throws out a punch and gathers a little more force without leaking. Not only the control of my own power, I feel that my thinking, agility, and understanding of moves have been greatly improved. It's like, he has integrated the life experience of a warrior who has experienced hundreds of battles into himself. My muscle power has increased a lot, and my force generation skills have also improved. This is reflected in the attack, that is, I can exert my strength without letting go, the attack power is greatly enhanced, and at the same time, I save more energy. What if I use it for agility? As soon as he thought of this, the most perfect technique and method for exerting force immediately appeared in Chen Chu's mind. Move. Thigh muscles contract. His legs hit the ground with a loud sound, and dust stirred up. The next moment, he appeared 2.5 meters in the air. We can continue. Move. There was a sonic boom in the air. Chen Chu rushed forward again and reached 4 meters in the air. After landing safely, Chen Chu looked surprised. It's actually possible to lunge into the air and continue to lunge in midair. It's a bit like a vertical ladder. Then Chen Chu did some experiments based on the ancient martial arts concepts in his mind. I found that my physical strength had been greatly improved. The physical technique similar to Zhongyan ladder can not only rush into the air, and you can achieve staying in midair by continuously exerting force on your thighs in midair. It just doesn't take long and consumes a lot of energy. In addition, it can also rush behind the enemy very quickly, leaving only an afterimage behind. But the disadvantage is that it produces a lot of noise. It's because the thighs exert force and generate a lot of energy in an instant. However, as a space power user, Chen Chu has a teleportation skill that is better than this. However, the substantial improvement in physical skills has further improved the overall strength. Better power, better strength, better agility, better combat awareness. Especially combat consciousness, this kind of thing needs to be found out from the sea of blood and corpses. But Chen Chu did it effortlessly. With the blessing of elite-level physical skills, my fighting awareness is no worse than my father's. A smile appeared on Chen Chu's lips. Dad has a very bad reputation outside. After experiencing countless battles, big and small, I gained the fighting consciousness I have today. As for Chen Chu, he married a wife, took concubines, gave birth to children, and achieved it instantly. This feels cool. Elite-level physical skills can reach this level. What if it's a master level? Chen Chu couldn't help but enjoy it. Master-level physical skills understanding requires having a concubine with a better power level and giving birth to a higher level heir. There is a long way to go. But Chen Chu still smiled confidently. He now has elite-level physical skills understanding. Physical fitness is greatly enhanced. You can take in more concubines, that's totally fine. And those power-generating techniques engraved in your mind can be of great use. Other than that, I haven't received the 3-dimensional reward yet. Receive 3D rewards. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a low-level 3-dimensional improvement +1. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained a low-level 3-dimensional improvement +1. Use 3D lift. After giving the order, 3 tingling sensations immediately arose in Chen Chu's body. But unlike last time, the reward for the birth of the eldest son Chen Han lasted as long as it did last time. 3 dimensions. Life, talent, potential. After absorbing the 2 low-level 3-dimensional rewards, Chen Chu immediately opened his panel. Host panel. Name, Chen Chu. Talent S+ level space system. Potential B+. Strength late 3rd level. Skills teleportation, storage, cutting, perception, elite level physical skills. The talent has been upgraded from S level to S+. Most of the reasons are due to the high-level rewards of the eldest son last time, coupled with the 2 low-level rewards of the eldest daughter and second son this time. The achievement is S+. The higher the level, the harder it is to improve. Chen Chu's original talent was S rank. But if you want to be promoted to S+, you still have to eat 3 reward packs to achieve it. As for potential, it was only D level at the beginning. As a high-level reward, it was promoted to B level. This time, the 2 low-level rewards have also made some progress and reached B+ level. Chen Chu is looking forward to reaching A in the next level. A-level potential, coupled with his elite-level physical skills, the combination of the 2 can make his strength even further. The longevity was also increased. Chen Chu felt his breath of life. Although the lifespan is not clearly marked on the properties panel. But Chen Chu can indeed feel the changes brought about by the 3-dimensional improvement. And my own power level has reached the late 3rd level and is about to break through the 4th level. Now the overall strength is barely enough and I think I have touched the threshold of the 7th level. Chen Chu breathed out a long breath, feeling relaxed. For those with special abilities, the 6th to 7th steps are a natural moat. To exaggerate, a 7th level strongman can easily crush a 6th level man to death. And Chen Chu's original overall strength was comparable to the top level 6. Now I get the powerful blessing of an elite level physical skill, as well as 2 low-level 3-dimensional improvements. The overall strength can be regarded as touching the threshold of the 7th order. He is now invincible at the 6th level, but facing a real 7th level strongman, he still needs to be a little more humble. Da Chao will give birth next month. By then I should be able to quickly establish a foothold in the 7th level of strength. The improvement of strength, and the upcoming arrival of new heirs. Chen Chu felt extremely happy. There is also a reward for a material warehouse. Chen Chu's consciousness swept across his filled supernatural space. The next moment, his face was full of ecstasy. So luxurious, we must have a family dinner to celebrate. The next day, inside the villa restaurant, Yi Miao, Da Chao, Xiao Chao and other 8 wives and concubines were present. In addition, the eldest daughter and second son born to the eldest son Chen Han and Xiao Chao are also there. Chen Han, this brat, is indeed a super genius with S talent and S potential. Less than half a year old, not only can he speak, but he can also run around. Now he is looking at his younger brother and sister in the cradle with his big round eyes. Of course, Su Lan was also present at the family banquet. On the one hand, it was because Xiao Chao was in confinement, Da Chao was about to give birth, and the other 5 concubines were also pregnant one after another. As the director of the medical department, she leads a medical team directly to her home. Convenient to take care of at any time. On the other hand, Chen Chu grew up with Su Lan and regarded her as family for a long time. Now the family banquet, of course, cannot do without her. See everyone here. Chen Chu clapped his hands. Serve. The kitchen immediately puts out fragrant dishes one after another. The luxuriousness of the dishes shocked the girls even more. You know, the girls have been married to Chen Chu for some time. It's not that I haven't seen good things before, on the contrary, I've seen a lot of them. But these things in front of me still brought a lot of shock. As this, a deep-sea fish. Su Lan, as cold as a whistle, couldn't help but be surprised. Su Lan didn't care what to eat. She is extremely busy every day, and her only requirement for food is to fill her stomach. But she couldn't help it now. Deep-sea fish, aren't these things extinct long ago? Snowflake cod, cold-tide fish, fresh alpine wild mushrooms. Matsutake, is this, a free-range pheasant? Oh my god, aren't these things extinct long ago? Su Lan couldn't close her shocked mouth. She is the upper echelon of Starfire City. And it is an orphan adopted by Chen Chu's mother, and grew up with Chen Chu. And he is the medical director of Starfire City. Its status is self-evident. If the status is high, knowledge will naturally not be low. In the last days, she had given up on many things that many people could not dream of in a lifetime. But the ingredients of this family banquet really shocked her. There is no other reason. These are all extinct creatures in the last days. Like that deep-sea fish. Frozen doomsday. Even several oceans are frozen. Although humans can still eat some fish. But they are all freshwater fish. It was preserved in the fish tank of the fish market before the end of the world. And it's an absolute luxury. Even the city lords of large cities don't eat whatever they want. But the deep-sea fish was clearly in front of him. And the shock of several types of deep-sea fish is not over yet. Chen Chu immediately asked someone to lift the other plates. Free-range chicken stewed with Highland wild mushrooms. Su Lan's pupils shrank. At the end of the glacier, the whole world is covered with ice and snow. How could there still be Highland wild mushrooms? The only fungi that existed in the last days of the glacier were some rotting mushrooms in the dark and humid places underground. Highland wild mushrooms. It is required to grow in a place with high altitude, rich vegetation, sufficient sunlight and sufficient water. Now, there is no place in the world that meets this requirement. Achoo, are these materials sent by other cities? Or the city lord has unearthed a high-end warehouse before the end of the world, and these ingredients are frozen in it? Su Lan suppressed her saliva and asked. Although these ingredients don't look like frozen and dry goods. But if it can appear in the end of the glacier, that's the only possibility. Chen Chu looked around. I found that my concubines were all staring at the delicious food on the table, and even swallowed quietly. Chen Chu smiled and waved his hands. Use your chopsticks, it's specially made for you to make up your body. As he spoke, he picked up a chicken leg and put it in Xiao Chao's bowl, which had just given birth to twins. After all, he doesn't move chopsticks. Wives and concubines dare not move. Thank you, husband. Xiao Chao's eyes lit up, and she happily smacked Chen Chu's face. Then he immediately moved his index finger and took a bite of the chicken leg. Woo! Xiao Chao's voice seemed to be melted by the food. She flashed her little star eyes and gave the other sisters a thumbs up. Then immediately bowed his head and worked hard. When the other wives and concubines saw each other, they looked at each other and moved their chopsticks one after another. Immediately, there was a sound in the restaurant, one after another, of wonderful satisfaction and praise. Husband, you eat. Yi Miao thoughtfully sandwiched the precious gills of the snow cod to Chen Chu. Chen Chu pampered and rubbed her head. Then, he made a gesture of invitation to the person sitting opposite. Whether it's frozen or dried, you'll know if you try it. Seeing that everyone around her was feasting, Su Lan couldn't help it now. She immediately picked up a chopstick of wild highland mushrooms and put them in her mouth. In an instant, the umami taste exploded in her mouth. She squinted her eyes, as if the theme song of Little Master Zhonghua was ringing in her ears. It's fresh wild highland mushrooms. Su Lan puffed out her cheeks and looked very cute. As a wood-type psychic, she is naturally very sensitive to the breath of life. As soon as the mushrooms entered her mouth, she immediately knew that the ingredients were fresh and must not have been picked for more than 3 days. After the surprise, there are endless doubts. There are no living conditions for highland wild mushrooms in the world, so how can fresh highland wild mushrooms appear? In response, Chen Chu just smiled and replied, "Secret." Then, he and his wife and concubines started a loving scene where you feed me and I feed you. Never mind, it's a good thing anyway. Unable to get an answer, Su Lan stopped thinking about it. She couldn't be restrained with such delicacies. He rolled up his sleeves and immediately immersed himself in the battle. Hiccup. It tastes so delicious. So this is what deep-sea fish tastes like. It's so delicious. The chicken is delicious and tender. It's completely different from the frozen chicken I've eaten before. It feels so nourishing. That mushroom is the most amazing, so fresh, I want to dance in my mouth. I have never seen such a taste in my life. Seeing his wives, concubines and Su Lan all slumped comfortably on their seats. A satisfied smile appeared on Chen Chu's lips. From now on, you can eat as much delicious food as you want. That's right. These ingredients that have become extinct in the last days are the rewards given by having more children and more blessings. After Xiao Chao gave birth to twins, Chen Chu received 2 awards. One is for elite-level physical skills, and the other is for material warehouse. And these ingredients are in the material warehouse. A total of 10,000 cubic meters of material warehouse is filled with all kinds of precious ingredients. There are freshly picked highland wild mushrooms, freshly slaughtered free-range chickens, and all kinds of deep-sea fish, shrimps, and crabs that can also jump around. Everything you need. And because time in the supernatural space is stagnant. So guaranteed to be absolutely fresh. Although I don't have to worry about daily necessities, these precious supplies are something that even the city lords of giant cities cannot enjoy. Yeah, these are all things that are extinct on Blue Star. Other people, even if they are powerful, where can they find them? Chen Chu is the only one here. See that everyone is full. Chen Chu asked someone to carry out a pile of extremely fresh and precious fruits. Wow, what a big and sweet cherry. Wow, what is this? Sunshine Rose. I've only seen it on the map. There was another exclamation in the restaurant. Until the end, all the girls were so full that they couldn't eat anymore. Chen Chukai did not continue to take out other precious things. Su Lan collapsed on the chair, rubbing her belly without caring about the image. There is no way, no one can resist these delicacies in the apocalypse, including her. She smiled and looked at Chen Han, who was holding a chicken leg in his hand and eating it like a tabby cat, but still staying by his younger brother and sister's side. Asked Chen Chu, "Have you not named the twins Xiao Chao gave birth to yet?" Chen Chu thought for a moment. The eldest daughter's name will be Chen Nian, and the second son's name will be Chen Mian. Su Lan nodded. I've tested them, and both of them are superpowers. However, they are too young, and it's not easy for me to determine the level of superpowers. It should be between BC. The eldest daughter Xiaonian should be a psychic power user. This kind of power user is very rare and has a very special ability. But what is certain is that if she grows up, her strength will be comparable to that of high-level people. Fighting against a first-level strong man. It must be cultivated well. As for the second son Chen Mian, I found during testing that his blood can neutralize the zombie virus to a certain extent. I guess he will become more powerful as he grows older and stronger. This ability is very important in the end of the world. I think he will be trained in the medical department later. I can also become a major backbone of Spark City in the future. Chen Chu nodded. Sulan's detection and analysis are quite consistent. Moreover, the property panels of 2 descendants have been generated on his side. The name was chosen successfully, and the descendant property panel has been generated. Name Chen Nian. Identity eldest daughter. Age 0 years old. Talent B+ level mentalist. Potential A. Name Chen Mian. Identity second son. Age 0 years old. Talent B level zombie immunity. Potential A. Originally, I just planned to take a casual glance. But this casual glance really stunned Chen Chu. Originally, he thought that his eldest daughter and second son were only B level talents. Grow up well and eventually become the mainstay of Spark City. But, how come their potential level is actually a grade? The eldest daughter, Chen Nian, is a spiritual teacher. According to Su Lan, spiritual talents are extremely special. It is far superior to the same level and comparable to the level 1 higher. That's it. The potential of the eldest daughter is A, and Chen Chu can still accept it. But the potential of the second son is actually A. The second son's talent is just a simple B-level zombie immunity. This was a pleasant surprise for Chen Chu. The increase in the offspring's strength will be returned to me to a certain extent, so the better the offspring's talent potential, the more beneficial it is to me. Chen Chu smiled. These 2 children gave him a big surprise. Su Lan was still analyzing the future development of the 2 children for Chen Chu. I read the Apocalypse newspaper, and it said that some cities discovered that in addition to their talents, their potential is also very important. Talent determines a person's lower limit, while potential determines a person's upper limit. Potential can even achieve the advancement of superpowers. However, these messages are too scattered. I don't know where they came from, and there are no specific detection methods. The end of the glaciers is really troublesome, and communication between humans is difficult. Otherwise, after I test the children's talents, I can better formulate growth plans for them. Su Lan grimaced. Every discovery in the last days is extremely important, especially in the direction of human development. But the glacial apocalypse has trapped mankind underground. If a new discovery is to be spread to all survivors, it will take only a few years or more than 10 years. The speaker has no intention, but the listener has intention. Chen Chu also doesn't know how to detect the talents of superpowers. But he has a system of having many children, and he can detect the potential of his own children. Can people with high potential advance their supernatural talents? Is this true? Chen Chu thought a little. Then he asked the system in his heart. With a stronger system, this small problem shouldn't be a problem. Answer to the host. People with stronger potential will be better able to develop their talents and bodies and achieve advancement. Sure enough, Chen Chu then asked. The second son Chen Mian, his talent is only B level, but his potential is A. How far can it be developed? Answer the host. The advanced development of zombie immunity can make you invulnerable to all poisons. When developed to the final state, it can make the body resist all harsh factors, viruses, extreme cold, extreme heat. That's it, this is A-level potential. Develop your own talents to a terrifying level. Then, Chen Chu set his sights on his eldest son, Chen Han, who is holding a chicken leg and eating it like a cat-like face. This kid's potential seems to be SS rank. What kind of monster will this be when it grows up? No, he is already a monster now. 7 days to speak, full moon to kill monsters with bare hands. Now less than half a year old, he can already jump around and run wild. These 3 airs alone can already make the subsequent development of Spark City worry-free. At the same time, Chen Chu also understood the power of the system of many children and many blessings. A person's power is limited after all. But the power of a family is extremely powerful. When the city lord comes back this time, will he bring you a new concubine? Su Lan set her sights on Chen Chu. Chen Chu was stunned. How do you know? He remembered that the last time his father mentioned this matter, he just mentioned it casually to him. Compared to Chen Chu's stunned look, Su Lan was very surprised. She covered her mouth and said, "You don't know. The city lord left the city this time. In addition to taking away the combat team, he also took away a team of nurses and several testing equipment from the medical department. He said he would choose some beautiful, clean little wives with special powers for you. The nurse team and testing equipment are used to confirm that your little wives are absolutely clean and healthy. In addition to making sure your little wife is clean, the nursing team also has to give you a beauty score to make sure your little wife is absolutely beautiful. These words made Chen Chu stunned. But then he thought about how his father, a fighting maniac, would have such little thoughts. He must have been instigated by someone to do such a thing. Chen Chu looked at Su Lan funny. Sister Lan, you made this proposal to Dad, right? You also gave Dad the nursing team and the equipment for physical examination, right? See yourself exposed. Su Lan blushed and stuck out her tongue. A person with superpowers must be clean and beautiful. This is Ra Chu's absolute standard for marrying a wife and taking concubines. There must be no sloppiness. And look, the concubines you selected based on this standard will give you a bunch of genius children. Speaking of this, Sulan's face showed a look of pride. Beautiful, clean, superpower. A Chu's criteria for choosing a mate were set by her from the beginning. And it has been proven time and time again that this standard is extremely correct. Chen Chu looked at Su Lan, who was originally a cool academic persona, but now she looked like a child asking for praise after winning a game. The psychology is inexplicably funny. There was an evil smile on the corner of his mouth. He rolled his eyes and said with a smile, I don't know how long it will take for Dad to return to the city, and now all my concubines are pregnant. I think in the entire Spark City, only Sister Lan agrees with this standard the most. At the same time, his eyes glanced up and down at Su Lan, his eyes full of satisfaction. Su Lan blushed deeply at these words. Unexpectedly, I dug a hole for myself. Her little eyes under her gold-rimmed glasses glanced around, trying to change the subject. She took Da Chao's hand. Da Chao is about to give birth. I will test her now to make sure everything is safe. After saying that, he immediately helped Da Chao up and left the restaurant. When Da Chao heard that it was for the good of his unborn child, he cooperated very well. Looking at Su Lan's leaving figure, the victorious Chen Chu felt happy. But, Sister Lan, you will become my little wife soon. Dad is out of the city to expand, and Spark City is about to become a giant city. By then, more medical ninjas will definitely be recruited. By then, Su Lan would have no excuse to avoid it. The days flew by. It's been less than 3 weeks since the last family dinner. It was approaching Da Chao's delivery date. Chen Chu is also about to welcome his 4th child. Da Chao's birth was much smoother than the previous 2 for Yi Miao and Xiao Chao. At this time, Chen Chu was already the father of 3 children, so his mentality was much calmer. Not long after, there was a baby crying. The delivery room door opens. Su Lan smiled. Achoo, he is a fat boy. Look, I'll hold him for a checkup. Chen Chu took the baby. It sinks in the hand. As expected, Da Chao gave birth to a fat boy. It is heavier than the previous 3 children when they were born. After confirming that the child was healthy, Chen Chu put the child back into Su Lan's hands. Let her take her for a comprehensive examination. And he took his concubines to visit Da Chao, husband. In the delivery room, Da Chao, who was sweating profusely, smiled sweetly at Chen Chu. Chen Chu sat next to her and stroked her hair lovingly. Okay, everything is fine. Da Chao nodded reassuringly. Our child. Chen Chu smiled and said, he is a big fat boy. He is heavier than Chen Han, Chen Yan and Chen Mian when they were born. He is very healthy. Sister Lan is doing a physical examination on him right now. As expected, he must also be a person with superpowers. Fat boy, superpower. With these 2 guarantees, a smile broke out on Da Chao's somewhat weak face. She was very nervous these days. Chen Chu's first 3 children are all highly talented people with special abilities. She was afraid that she would give birth to an ordinary person and lose Chen Chu's favor. And Chen Chu stayed with her day and night, and slept in the same bed for a long time. How could he not notice her thoughts? Chen Chu kissed Da Chao on the forehead. He said softly, little fool, feel at ease now. Da Chao nodded shyly. Chen Chu said softly, even if the child is not a superpower, I will always be kind to you. This was said not only to Da Chao, but also to the other concubines. This is a system of many children and many blessings, not a system of many children and many blessings. As long as the number of heirs increases, there will be rewards for the increase. It's just that if the heir has good talent, the rewards will be more or less. But he would not force his wives and concubines to give birth to children with supernatural powers just because of this. Still the same sentence, if my wife and concubines don't love me, who will love me? It takes 100 years to cross the same boat, and 1,000 years to sleep together. Although he married so many concubines, it was because of the system of having more children and more blessings, in order to enhance his strength. But Chen Chu dares to say that he loves every concubine. Moreover, as an S+ level superhuman, there is a high probability that his offspring will be supernatural. And his ability will become stronger and stronger in the future, so don't worry at all. More importantly, Chen Chu believes that the process is much happier than the result. Working hard with so many beautiful wives and concubines every day is already the happiest thing in this last days. As for the harvest after hard work, he and his concubines worked so hard to sow the seeds, and the harvest would definitely not be bad. Ah Chu, the result is out. For the ability from B to A level, the child needs to be a little older to be finally confirmed. The ward door was suddenly pushed open. It was holding the child in one hand and waving a report card in the other. Sulin looked excited. As for Chen Chu, the system arrived late. It is detected that the host's offspring are increasing, and rewards are issued. It is detected that the talent of the offspring of the host is A-level special soil system, 3-dimensional rewards are issued. Two wonderful voices spread out in Chen Chu's mind. The happiest person present was none other than Da Chao. My husband's and my child's ability is B or A level. This level of talent is second only to the monstrous Chen Han. Da Chao was so happy that he almost fainted. My stomach is really upsetting. I gave birth to a little genius for my husband. It also gave birth to a future backbone for Starfire City. Sister. Xiao Chao happily held Da Chao's hand. They are sister flowers. Growing up together, the relationship is very deep. Even the abilities are the same. Naturally, they will be happy for each other. Su Lan walked in and put the child beside Da Chao. Da Chao hugged the child dotingly, eyes full of happiness. Not only did she have a child with her husband, but the child is also a genius. Su Lan took the test report and analyzed it aside. Not only is it a powerful ability user, but the type of ability is an important soil type. And it is not an ordinary soil type, but a mutant soil type. Su Lan released another big news. The soil ability, and it's still a mutant soil. This is the sweet pastry in the end of the glacier. As we all know, in the end of the glacier, ice-type abilities are absolute favorites. Fire-type supernatural beings are the guarantee of human beings. And Earth-type supernatural beings are an indispensable existence in every city. Because human beings need to live underground, Earth-type supernatural beings can expand the territory for human beings. Therefore, the Earth-type supernatural beings are also the guests of honor in each city. The Earth-type supernatural beings in Starfire City are a pair of brothers. And they have become the core personnel and upper-level people of Starfire City just by relying on their sea-level talents. This shows the preciousness of Earth-type supernatural beings in the last days of the glacier. And now, his third son is actually an Earth-type supernatural being with an A-level talent. This is definitely a guest of honor even if you go to the top giant city. He will definitely become the right-hand man of the city lord in the future. Su Lan made a conclusion. Starfire City wants to continue to develop, but it is still a bit difficult with just 2 sea-level soil elements. But if the third son grows up, that Starfire City can not only expand the living territory, you can also build powerful underground fortifications, dig underground mines and avoid powerful underground monsters. The importance of this special talent is second only to that of the evildoer's eldest son, Chen Han. The other 5 concubines who were about to give birth all cast envious eyes on Da Chao. Mother is more expensive than child. There is no doubt that Big Joe will gain a stable position in Starfire City because of this child. Husband, give the child a name. Da Chao looked at Chen Chu expectantly. Today is the happiest day since she was born. Chen Chu looked at the fat boy in Da Chao's arms. Well, let's call it Chen Shou. Chen Shou, Shou. Da Chao repeated in a low voice. Xiao Shou, do you like this name? Grow up quickly, you must make good use of your abilities to help Grandpa and Dad guard Starfire City and our big family. Da Chao stretched out his fingers to tease the fat boy in his arms. The third son, Chen Shou, seemed to understand. He showed a bright smile to everyone. This action made everyone present laugh. The atmosphere of joy lasted for a long time, until Su Lan reminded Da Chao that she had just finished giving birth and needed to rest. The crowd began to disperse, and Chen Chu after eating with his wives and concubines. Then he went straight into the practice room alone. After entering the practice room, Chen Chu immediately turned on the system. The name was chosen successfully, and the descendant property panel has been generated. It is detected that the host has 2 rewards to be claimed. Chapter 31. Name Chen Shou. Identity third son. Age 0 years old. Talent A-level mutated earth element. Potential A. The potential is pretty good, not as perverted as the eldest daughter and second son. Chen Chu nodded. Among his children, the third son, Chen Shou, is the most normal. And an A-level mutated soil type is indeed worthy of Spark City's full cultivation. This can be regarded as Chen Chu's biggest gain during this period. Dad saw it when he came back, and he will probably be happy. There is an earth element in my family. Then you won't have to be controlled by others. The development, expansion and other things of Spark City will be taken to the next level. Dad is out of town this time. The battle is huge and there are a lot of things to do. It is estimated that he will not be able to come back until next year. By then, all the concubines should have given birth. There will be a group of children who will surround me and call me Grandpa. Chen Chu thought of what his father said before he left, that he would build a big empire for himself and take in dozens of concubines. And Sulin said not long ago that her father brought a team of nurses and medical testing equipment with him when he went out of town. This gave him something to look forward to. His wife Yi Miao and his concubine Da Chao and Xiao Chao have just given birth. The other 5 concubines are also pregnant. He really needs to add new concubines. These days, more and more supplies are being transported into Spark City. I think everything will go well for Dad outside. A big difficulty in the end of the Ice Age is the inconvenience of travel and communication. Chen Chu was unable to know in real time the news that his father was outside. When the family develops, the situation should improve. Each of his descendants has special powers. Wait until they start growing. The strength of Spark City will increase by leaps and bounds. By then, his strength must have reached a new level. It can better help Dad develop. He closed the descendants panel. Chen Chu put these thoughts behind him. The most important thing now is to improve your own strength. Dad is out there killing everyone, he can't fall behind. System, collect the reward. Congratulations to the host, you successfully received the reward, a rare quality apocalyptic shelter. Congratulations to the host, successfully received the reward, intermediate 3-dimensional improvement. Rare quality, apocalyptic shelter. It was the first time for Chen Chu to receive such an award, which was a bit strange. However, he still used the 3-dimensional enhancement first. After all, one's own strength is fundamental. Start using intermediate 3D enhancement. Intermediate life improvement +1. Intermediate talent improvement +1. Intermediate potential improvement +1. 3 familiar tingling sensations that make people tremble from the soles of the feet to the sky. Chen Chu couldn't help but shudder. Phew, I feel like my lifespan has increased more this time than before. My strength has finally been promoted from the late stage of Tier 3 to Tier 4. My potential has also been significantly enhanced. The numbness disappears. The promotion ends. Chen Chu immediately opened his properties panel. Host properties panel. Name, Chen Chu. Age, 19. Talent S+ level space system. Potential A. Strength early stage of 4th level. Skills teleportation, storage, cutting, perception, hiding, elite physical skills. A-level potential. Chen Chu clenched his fists excitedly. After having 4 children, his potential finally entered the A stage from the initial D level. Potential for promotion to A level. He immediately felt that the supernatural energy in his body was easier to mobilize. At the same time, mastery of the body is also enhanced. In addition, my thinking is much clearer than before. The potential of Stage A is indeed much stronger than that of Stage B. The superpower level has finally been promoted to the 4th level. A 4th level superpower is already considered an elite in the 31st year of the apocalypse. We have the capital to gain a foothold in the last days. What's more, Chen Chu is a 4th level S-level space system user. In terms of supernatural powers alone, he can be regarded as the elite of the elite in the Ice Age. And Chen Chu's overall strength is not limited to supernatural powers. There is also physical ability, 3-dimensional continuous improvement, as well as elite physical skills. The physical body and supernatural strength are superimposed. Let his overall strength gain a firm foothold among the 7th order supernatural beings. You can fight with some supernatural beings who have just been promoted to the 7th level. If you are proficient in using space abilities plus physical skills, you can kill people with 7th order early stage abilities. Finally, following in Dad's footsteps. Although Starfire City is developing rapidly, it is still a large city. With overall strength comparable to the early 7th level. Chen Chu himself can already guard Spark City. But in more than a year, I have been promoted from an ordinary person with no power to restrain a chicken to this level. Chen Chu was in a good mood. The ability space has also become 100,000 cubic meters, a huge space of 100x100x100. Looking around, Chen Chu's lips curved into a smile. This time the strength has improved a lot. The attack power is stronger, the body is more agile, and the time to enter the supernatural space is longer. Originally, I could only stay in the supernatural space for 10 minutes. Now I can stay at least 1 hour. In the practice room, he tried all his skills over and over. Enough arrogance. Chen Chu just stopped and set his sights on another reward. Rare quality apocalyptic shelter. After understanding, Chen Chu probably understood the usefulness of this thing. It's just a doomsday shelter, but it's very powerful. The overall size is about the same as the 2,000 square meter villa I live in now. But it is made entirely of special metal. According to the system introduction, it can resist the attacks of 10th order supernatural beings. However, Chen Chu doubts whether there are 10th order supernatural beings in the last days. Anyway, he has never heard of it. In the entire Province C, there are no 9th level superpowers, let alone 10th level ones. Besides, this so-called rare quality shelter is also equipped with a monitoring system, an enemy killing system, and a biological system. System introduction. Even if a 10th level superpower user enters the range, he will suffer hatred. Read the shelter instructions provided with the system from the beginning. An intriguing smile appeared on Chen Chu's face. What the outside world looks like is unknown to him due to the difficulty in transmitting information. But he knew that the top combat power in the entire Province C was the late 8th level. This means that Chen Chu has the safest shelter in the entire Province C. In this way, the safety of the concubines will be guaranteed. Although all of his wives and concubines are powerful beauties. But strength is really hard to complement. Now that he has a shelter that can resist level 10 superpowers, it can be regarded as a relief for Chen Chu. After all, in the apocalypse, when enemies go to war, it is basically a war of genocide. Now, the safety of my family has been perfectly guaranteed. But how am I going to house this shelter? Chen Chu frowned and thought. A huge shelter was created out of thin air in the city. This is so shocking. At this time, the system appears. The host can choose to combine the shelter with the host's residence, and the system will modify it. Can you still do this? Chen Chu's eyes lit up. It is worthy of its own system, it is powerful. Without any thought, Chen Chu directly chose to renovate his current residence. It is getting late now. Moreover, because his wife and concubine were pregnant, they rested very early. And the system transformation process will shield the sound. So the whole process didn't alarm anyone. And the transformation process is very fast. In less than an hour, his residence transformed into the safest place in the entire C province. Now, even if all the top powerhouses in the entire province of C besiege together, they cannot break through it. Because of this rare quality refuge, it can resist 10th order supernatural beings. And in the entire province of C, there is not even a 9th level supernatural being. And according to the prompt of the system, Chen Chu also learned that rare quality sanctuaries can also be promoted to epic quality. On top of epic quality there is legendary quality. And every time a quality is promoted, the performance of all aspects will be greatly improved. Especially in defense. And this also gave Chen Chu another idea. Above the 10th order ability user, is there any stronger? According to existing theories, the ability is divided into 10 levels. As for the state after that, I have never heard of it. Because until now in the last 31 years, no one has ever been promoted to the 10th rank. It seems that the end of the world is not as simple as I imagined. The world is frozen. It limits human behavior to a great extent. He could only hide in a corner of the ground, lingering on his last breath, unable to understand the farther places of the outside world. Originally, I thought that if the power level was promoted to the 10th level, coupled with powerful force, it would be able to dominate the last days. It seems more than that. Quote, but Chen Chu was not depressed by this. On the contrary, I look forward to it. Dad is an 8th level supernatural power user. Fighting is like a demigod. What about 10th order? What if it is above the 10th rank? I can't even imagine it. With a powerful system on his body, the higher the world limit, the stronger he can achieve. Be sure to marry a wife and take concubines, more children will bring more blessings. Chen Chu clenched his fists. Only by constantly marrying wives and taking concubines can you become stronger and stronger if you have more children and more blessings. In this way, he looked forward to his father's return in a big victory. At that time, he will have a new, suitable concubine room. I want to come to that place, and the other 5 concubines have already been born, and my strength will become stronger. I can also go to the wild with my father to grab land, grab supplies, and grab a wife. Chen Chu's current overall strength can be regarded as a master in the last days. In Xingwo City, only this and his father Chen Lei exist. And it won't be long, after a few months, 5 concubines will give birth one after another, and his strength is estimated to be improved to a higher level. When the time comes, he will be a great helper when he goes out with his father. And his space system ability. Whether it is a frontal battle or an auxiliary, it can play a very powerful role. In the next 6 months, just wait for the concubine to give birth, and the father will return. Chen Chu has a plan for the future trajectory. Then he looked at the residence that had been transformed into a rare quality shelter with a relaxed mood. The main console of the shelter was chosen by Chen Chu to be placed in his practice room. This is his private sanctuary. It is safer and more private to place the console here. So high-tech. Chen Chu sat down in front of the console. Much like in many sci-fi movies, this entire wall has been transformed into a screen. Every corner of the entire villa is monitored without any dead ends. In addition, you can also notify the console to use weapons to release attacks to destroy the enemy, as well as getting the entire residence into a defense mechanism. The whole house is closed, and the biological system in the shelter circulates itself. The refuge is a complete ecosystem. Be able to be self-sufficient and allow survivors to live until the day they die of old age. It can actually adjust the temperature. Chen Chu saw the red and green buttons on the console. What is the biggest problem in the glacial apocalypse? It's the temperature. The average ground temperature remains below -120 degrees all year round, and in some dangerous areas it can even reach -150 degrees. No living thing can survive such extreme cold. Human beings have to be forced into the ground. But even with the help of Earth-type supernatural beings, a refuge camp was built deep underground. But the temperature can only reach -40 degrees. People with superpowers are running the energy in their bodies all the time. Ordinary people are wrapped up like bloated buckets every day. Can it be adjusted to 40 degrees above zero? Chen Chu was a little shocked. 40 degrees above zero. This kind of temperature, even in the world before the end of the glacier, is absolutely high temperature. Although Chen Chu really wanted to feel the 40-degree heat. But he is not so stupid. After all, there are still pregnant women in the family. -10 degrees. Chen Chu turned to the button. There was originally a layer of Yaoshi insulation on the periphery of his residence, which kept the indoor temperature at -20 degrees. So now after adjusting to -10 degrees, there is not much discomfort. 0 degrees. Chen Chu adjusted again. This time, a sense of warmth immediately surged up. Finally, Chen Chu adjusted the temperature to 18 degrees Celsius. This is the most suitable temperature he found after repeated adjustments. After familiarizing himself with the console, Chen Chu walked out of the practice room. Phew, the air is so clear. Chen Chu took a deep breath. I feel extremely relaxed. At this time, the residence already has an ecological self-circulation system. The oxygen content and freshness of the air are better than those on the ground. In addition, the extra plants in the room also make the environment of the villa better. See everything without worries. Chen Chu walked into the master bedroom with relaxed steps. This is the bedroom between him and his wife Yi Miao. But of course, when the wives and concubines are having fun together, other concubines will also spend the night here. But now all 5 concubines are pregnant. Da Chao and Xiao Chao also just gave birth. So Yi Miao was the only one in the bedroom. Because Chen Chu had been playing with the shelter for too long, it was already late at night. Yi Miao, who was reading a book on the desk and waiting for Chen Chu, had already fallen asleep leaning on the chair, looking at his wife's beautiful side face and her curved figure under the light. Chen Chu felt hot in his heart. He walked over quietly and held the petite Yi Miao in his arms. Ying Ning. Yi Miao in her arms opened her eyes dimly. Husband, you are back. I'll get you some hot water and take some rest. Yi Miao rubbed his eyes. Only then did he realize that he was in Chen Chu's arms. Although they are already an old couple. But her face turned red instantly and she looked so pretty. Husband, husband, she trembled, looking at his wife's lovely appearance. Chen Chu smiled slightly. He lowered his head and said softly, we'll talk about the hot water thing later. I have something important to do with you now. What's going on? Yi Miao lowered her head and spoke in a small voice. Give Xiaohan a younger brother and sister. The man laughed, the woman exclaimed. Flickering in the dark night. In the villa, living room. The concubines who got up early in the morning felt the indoor environment and exclaimed in surprise. But Chen Chu and Yi Miao stayed up all night. At this time, the two of them had just come out of the bathroom. Wow, it's so warm. It's the first time I've felt such warmth since I was born. I don't even have my powers running. The air is so fresh. Even the air on the ground is not so fresh. Wow, is this a tree? These are leaves, so green. Da Chao, Xiao Chao and the other 5 concubines looked at the brand new villa and touched everywhere in surprise. Chen Chu leaned against the bathroom door with a faint smile on his lips. The wives were surprised only by the shelter's simple biological system. Little did he know that his villa had become the safest place in Province C. Able to resist level 10 superpowers and counterattack to kill level 10 superpowers. Husband, did you do this? Xiao Chao, who has long since recovered, has returned to his original quirky appearance. She ran over and hugged Chen Chu's arms, her eyes bright. Chen Chu nodded. He excused himself by saying, I moved all the good stuff from Dad's supplies back home. Wives don't care how their home came to be like this. They only know that their husbands have made the living standards of their families skyrocket. The concubines touched their growing bellies, thinking sweetly that they were marrying the right person. My husband is the best husband in the world. I have seen the tragic undertones of the end of the glacier. Wives find life now unreal. In the end, they sighed that they were the happiest women in the entire apocalypse. Da Chao and Xiao Chao, who had already recovered, looked at Chen Chu with charming eyes. If the 2 sisters could be in such a warm environment, one on the left and the other on the arms of their husband, they would definitely be much happier than before. As the head wife, Yi Miao has a delicate mind. After all, their whole family has been living together for more than a year, so how could they not understand each other's thoughts? Yi Miao, who had worked hard all night, smiled and pushed Chen Chu towards Da Chao and Xiao Chao. The 2 sisters must have been holding back their 10-month pregnancy. Yi Miao looked at Da Chao and Xiao Chao with a smile. Da Chao buried her face shyly. Xiao Chao hugged Chen Chu's thick arms with a smile. Yi Miao knows the power of her husband best. So even if her husband stayed up all night, she was not worried at all. Instead, I was a little worried about whether Da Chao and Xiao Chao, who had just recovered, could bear it. But after bursts of laughter came from the bedroom. Yi Miao is no longer worried. After all, Sisters Da Chao and Xiao Chao haven't gotten along with Chen Chu for more than a year. I think this storm should be evenly matched. The other 5 pregnant concubines were full of envy. They also want to have children of their own and their husbands. They also want to be alone with their husbands in this warm environment. After feeling envious, they caressed their bellies, full of joy and anticipation. In a few months, they will give birth. By then, I will have a child for myself and my husband. When the time comes, they can also be alone with their husbands in such a warm environment and enjoy their husband's love. The 5 pregnant concubines turned their faces slightly red as they thought about it. But then, they were attracted by other new things in the villa. Underground gym, underground game hall, underground small aquarium. There is also a large room with grass all over the floor and artificial simulated sunlight above. There are also several comfortable lounge chairs. The wives and concubines have been living in the ice and snow from birth to now. Never seen such a battle. Even Yi Miao didn't want to leave the last 5 concubines. It was in the afternoon that Sulan brought the medical team to check up on the 5 pregnant concubines as usual, and they walked out reluctantly. As AB+ 5th level superpower, Sulan is more sensitive to the living environment than others. As soon as she stepped into the villa, she immediately expressed the surprise of, "Huh. It's so warm. There's more oxygen in the air. The subtle life energy is also much stronger." Her beautiful eyes looked at the changed villa. At this time, Chen Chu also came out from the side sleeper. After 4 hours of getting along, both Da Chao and Xiao Chao fell asleep with happy smiles. And Chen Chu has undergone several power upgrades, as well as 3-dimensional body data upgrades. With his current physical fitness, it would not be a problem to accept dozens of concubines. Not to mention Big Joe and Little Joe. "Xiao Chu, is the city lord back?" Su Lan walked quickly to Chen Chu with surprised eyes. She thought that such a big change should be because the city lord had gained a lot outside. Chen Chu shook his head in denial. The old man played very hot outside, and he couldn't come back for more than half a year. When Su Lan expressed her doubts, Chen Chu calmly repeated the excuse of fooling his wives and concubines to Su Lan. He is no longer the stunned young man he used to be. The big deal is to admit that he is already a supernatural being. And it's a space system. After all, the space system is not only powerful. Accessibility is also great. Things like remodeling a house are just a matter of a few thoughts. But Su Lan didn't doubt it either. She is a doctor, not a detective. Moreover, Chen Chu grew up with her since she was a child. She has long regarded him as a relative, and subconsciously believed in Chen Chu. Su Lan waved her fist excitedly. Living in such an environment is of great benefit to pregnant women. I've been thinking about how to renovate the living environment for Ah Chu and your concubine, but I didn't expect you to do it first. As the head of the Starfire City Medical Department, no one understands better than her how threatening the end of the glaciers and life in the caves are to mothers and newborns. My Ah Chu wants to marry wives and take concubines all the time, so that he will have more children and more blessings. It is extremely important to transform the living environment. She kept it in her mind. Unexpectedly, this big rock in his heart was easily solved by Chen Chu. Ah Chu, the good news is that your wife's body cells are more active, and the fetuses in their womb are also more active than before. Live more in such an environment, both for pregnant women and children, will be good. After the inspection, Su Lan's face remained flushed. Her theory proved successful in one test. Seeing the excited smiles of her and her wives, Chen Chu also smiled. Not to mention his own wives. Even he himself, living in such an environment, felt much better. Sure enough, the underground is definitely not suitable for human survival. Chen Chu came to a conclusion in his mind. At the same time, he is looking forward to the so-called epic and legendary refuge. A rare quality can bring such a big improvement to one's family living environment. Wouldn't the refuge environment on the upper 2 floors be better than the Blue Star environment before the end of the world? But I want to improve my strength and improve my life. The most important thing is to marry a wife and take concubines, so that many children are blessed. And in the days that followed, Chen Chu was looking forward to his father's return. Accompanied by his wives, having fun and raising a baby in a shelter with a beautiful environment. The days blink by. In the 32 years of the last days, 5 concubines gave birth one after another. Brought 5 children to Chen Chu one after another. They are 3 boys and 2 daughters. Name, Chen Wu. Identity, 4th son. Age, 0 years old. Talent, B level heavy fog from the sky. Potential, B. Name, Chen Sheng. Identity, 5th son. Age, 0 years old. Talent, C+ level speed walker. Potential, C+. Name, Chen Yi. Identity, 6 sons. Age, 0 years old. Talent, C level kendo proficiency. Potential, C. Name, Chen Mu. Identity, 2nd daughter. Age, 0 years old. Talent, C+ grade wood system. Potential, C+. Name, Chen Yi. Identity, 3 women. Age, 0 years old. Talent, C+ grade nightcrawler. Potential, C+. 3 sons, 2 daughters. 4th son, Chen Wu. 5th son, Chen Sheng. The 6th son, Chen Yi. 2nd daughter, Chen Mu. The 3rd daughter, Chen Yi. The birth of 5 heirs brought Chen Chu 5 heir rewards and 5 three-dimensional promotions of different levels. However, because the concubines gave birth very close to each other, so Chen Chu didn't have time to go to the practice room to collect them, and all the rewards were hoarded together, waiting to be used together. Chu, all of them have undergone a comprehensive inspection, and without exception, they are all supernatural beings. Su Lan took off her mask, with beads of sweat on her forehead, sticking to her hair. Although these days make her very tired, but she was dying of excitement. 100%. The probability of Onachu's heir's ability is 100%. If the previous one was a coincidence, the 3 and 4 are all coincidences. But now Chen Chu has 9 children, 6 sons and 3 daughters. Without exception, everyone is a supernatural being. And according to the power concentration, each one is grade C or above. This is simply astonishing. You know, among the 5 concubines that Chen Chu accepted, the highest ones are D-level supernatural beings, and the rest are low-level EFs. But the offspring born after the big marriage with Chen Chu, every supernatural ability surpasses their mother. These supernatural descendants can form a fighting team. Achu, you must accept a high-level concubine. Su Lan's eyes were full of longing and anticipation. Yes, she found that each of Chen Chu's offspring has a higher power level than the mother's. Especially the eldest son Chen Han. Mother is B grade. He is actually S rank. If it is given to a Juna's B+ concubine, what level of children will be born? What if it's A level? If it's S rank? The more she thought about it, the more excited she became. I'm a B+ grade. Thinking of this, Su Lan secretly glanced at Chen Chu, her face turned red. A level can rely on the city lord. Chen Lei is an 8th level A+ level lightning type supernatural power user. After Starfire City is developed into a giant city, there is a high probability that Chen Chu will be able to find a concubine of A-level abilities. An S-class. Su Lan was distressed. Which one of the S-level abilities is not a famous powerhouse? They are all people who stand side by side with Chen Lei, so I am afraid there is no chance. But thinking of this, the figure of Zhang Fenju inexplicably popped up in Su Lan's mind. Chen Chu's mother had the grace to save Zhang Fenju's life. In the initial stage of Raging Fire City's development, Xingwo Chen also provided a lot of help. Now the cooperation between the two is deeper and the fetters are deeper. Moreover, Zhang Fenju was not very old, and he was not married. That's it. Zhang Fenju is definitely the best choice. And if it can be done, isn't Chen Chu in charge of Starfire City and Raging Fire City? Merge into a bigger city. At that time, there will be 2 8th-level powerhouses and a large number of population resources. The entire province of C is in the bag. Su Lan was excited. If Chen Chu can take charge of the entire province of C, wouldn't there be no hindrance in finding a concubine for a supernatural being? Maybe you can get a higher-level concubine room. A higher level than Zhang Fenju. The big deal is to let Zhang Fenju become bigger. Su Lan's mood was agitated. And Chen Chu looked at Su Lan in front of him. He also said that he wanted to take a concubine for him, and he waved his fists and laughed, talking to himself with a pretty face flushed. He knew what Su Lan was thinking. Young Master Chen. At this moment, a familiar voice came from behind the two of them. It was Lu Ruyan wearing a tight red armor. Haven't seen in over a year. Lu Ruyan, who was originally uneven, is now even more outstanding. And this year and a half has experienced a lot outside, so there is an extra temperament in my body. It's like a pandan that is pure and ready to ripen. Ruyan. Su Lan recovered and nodded to Lu Ruyan. Both of them are the backbone of Starfire City, so they naturally know each other and have a good relationship. Sister Lan. Lu Ruyan also smiled and nodded in response. She was a few years younger than Su Lan. Is Daddy back? Chen Chu asked impatiently. Lu Ruyan is the backbone of the battle team. Her appearance in Starfire City means that Dad should also return to the city. Lu Ruyan looked at Chen Chu with a bright smile. The city lord will arrive tomorrow, and he asked me to go ahead and bring you the news. What news? The city lord asked you to send someone to start preparing the wedding banquet. He will give you 10 concubines. A concubine, 10 gates. Chen Chu was startled. One of the main purposes of my father's trip is to take concubines for himself. But it didn't say to accept 10 doors. Are there so many supernatural beings in Zhonghai City who agree to the conditions? You bought it from Zhong Yazi? Chen Chu asked. Lu Ruyan shook her head proudly. No, Zhong Yazi doesn't have this ability. Okay, I got it. Chen Chu shook his head. My father's temperament, if he didn't buy it, he robbed it. If you don't allow it, you can still talk to the matchmaker. Young Master Chen, this time the concubine city lord said he would give you a big surprise. Lu Ruyan approached. What surprise? Concubine's surprise. Could it be sisters again? D.E.F. Lu Ruyan revealed in a low voice, about the ability level. Chen Chu frowned. Could it be that the level of ability that is worth making my father shut me down is? Chen Chu's eyes lit up, and he immediately ordered the people around him to inform them to prepare for the wedding banquet. Naturally, the etiquette for concubines this time will be the same as before, and the marriage will be separated. In this way, it is a big wedding for 20 consecutive days. But now Xingwo City has a lot of money and a thick waist, and it's nothing to hold a wedding banquet. By the way, the city lord knows that he has had many grandchildren in the past year, and they are all supernatural beings. So he prepared a gift for every child. Quote, Chen Chu felt warm in his heart. From the beginning to the end, all that Dad did was for himself and this family. These boys have flow. Chen Chu sighed. My father is so generous, the things he gave must be extraordinary. As the child's strength improves, he will get feedback. A new concubine room to improve the strength of children. Chen Chu is very much looking forward to Dad's return. Young Master Chen, there will be a large amount of supplies coming in later, and my subordinates have to deal with them, so I'm leaving now. Lu Ruyan left with a smile. Seeing her smile, Chen Chu knew that his father must have made a lot of money outside. Afterwards, Su Lan also left. She also needs to continue to observe the types of abilities of Chen Chu's offspring, and then plan the most suitable growth path for the offspring. And after Chen Chu took care of his wives, entered the practice room alone. He wants to improve and integrate his strength again before his father returns. System, claim the reward. System, collect the reward. Hoarding rewards received successfully. Congratulations to the host, you got a thunder fruit. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained the 36 methods of the Deep Palace. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained intermediate firearms proficiency. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 100 caddies of Infinity Stone. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained 10 red beast cores. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained an intermediate 3-dimensional promotion X1. Congratulations to the host, you have obtained low-level 3-dimensional enhancement X4. Before looking at the real rewards, Chen Chu used the 3-dimensional upgrade as usual. Low-level HP plus 4. Low-level talents increased by plus 4. Low-level potential increase plus 4. Intermediate life improvement plus 1. Intermediate talent improvement plus 1. Intermediate potential improvement plus 1. A tingling sensation passed through the Tianling Guy. Chen Chu immediately opened his properties panel. Host properties panel. Name, Chen Chu. Age, 19. Talent S+ level space system. Potential A. Strength late tier 4. Skills teleportation, storage, cutting, perception, concealment, elite physical skills, intermediate firearms proficiency, Deep Palace 36 methods. The potential has broken through again and reached an A. The strength has also entered the late stage of the 4th order, and touched the edge of the 5th order. But 4 low-level promotions and 1 mid-level promotion did not increase the talent level. Presumably, the span from S+ to SS is too large. Chen Chu felt the benefits brought to him by this promotion. Overall is good. It's better than I expected. After all, the heir this time has the highest ability level, which is B. It is unexpected that there can be so many improvements. What's more, there are 5 in-kind rewards. 2 of them are skill classes. Intermediate firearms proficiency and the 36 methods of the Deep Palace. Skill rewards were immediately mastered the moment he received them. Although only intermediate firearms proficiency. But Chen Chu knew that he could definitely point and hit wherever he wanted now, and he could hit every target with every shot. He clearly remembered all the operating principles of each firearm. With this skill, I can use it to go out of town with my father in the future. Chen Chu's power has grown tremendously now. I have long wanted to follow my father in the last days. On the one hand, after being strong, I don't want to stay underground all day, and I am strong and have special abilities, so I can help my father very well. As Dad gets stronger and stronger, it means his life is getting better and better. So it's necessary. On the other hand, you can't let your father go out to choose wives and concubines for you every time, can you? My wife always has to choose by herself. And if you meet a genius with hidden talents like Zhang Qingshui, you will never miss it when he is there. I've eaten too many ice fruits, so it's not a problem to keep out the cold. Now that I'm good at spears, I can use these 2 points to join the supernatural team in other places. Chen Chu still does not intend to directly expose his strength. On the one hand, he is not invincible enough. If it is revealed that 2 years ago, he was an ordinary second generation who was just eating and waiting to die. Now immediately transform into a person with a strength comparable to that of a 7th order supernatural being. Such a horrific thing, I am afraid that people will be suspicious. In the last days, people's hearts are dangerous and cannot be tested. After casually taking out his own gun from his pocket and trying a few shots, Chen Chu set his sights on another skill. 36 methods in the Deep Palace. After recalling this skill in his mind, Chen Chu had a wonderful expression. Many children, many blessings system, it is reasonable to think so. The 36 techniques of the Deep Palace is actually a skill that needs to be practiced with the wife. Not only can it add to the fun, but it can also make your wife beautify and keep fit. If both parties run superpowers during the entire process, the growth rate of superpowers can also be accelerated. 36 pictures played in a loop in my mind. Chen Chu was silent at first, then nodded secretly. Try it tonight with the wife. He found that Yi Miao had neglected his powers in the past 2 years. As a husband, it is necessary for him to save her from fire and water. Keep the 36 laws of the Deep Palace in my heart like a treasure. Chen Chu looked at the other 3 rewards. 10 red beast cores. Red animal core. This is something that only a strong man of his father's level would use. Chen Chu weighed the energy in it. After absorbing all 10, I can step into the 5th level. Beast cores are much more precious than zombie crystal cores, and contain more energy. Chen Chu's supernatural energy is 10 times more powerful and 10 times purer than those of the same level. You can use the red beast core directly. No nonsense, just hold your hand, the superpower starts to work, and begins to absorb the energy in the red beast core. After an hour, Chen Chu opened his eyes. We finally broke through and reached the middle of the 5th level. He casually threw the beast core that had turned into powder onto the ground. Start withdrawing other rewards. The Infinity Stone weighs 100 caddies. Infinity Stone prevents the energy circulation of superpowers. This, and this thing. Follow your system's instructions. This thing can not only stop the energy circulation of superpowers. Moreover, the properties of this thing are similar to those of iron, it is a meltable and malleable metal. Made it into a bracelet for people with superpowers to wear, instead of just turning into ordinary people. Chen Chu immediately thought of the best use of the Infinity Stone. However, he also immediately received a system prompt. According to the quality of this batch of boundless stones, it can only stop B-level 6th level and below superpowers. Chen Chu thought for a moment and made an arrangement. Spend 1/10 of the money to make handcuffs and other torture instruments. The rest are made into bullet slugs. The special properties of the Infinity Stone can be used to make warheads that can easily kill superpowers. And he has intermediate firearm proficiency skills. With cooperation, Chen Chu can kill a 6th level B-level superpower user without using any abilities. For higher level superpowers, even if they cannot shoot, they can still cause damage. Great. After that, I can go out of the city with my father in a reasonable way, and use a certain amount of combat power. Chen Chu put the Infinity Stone into the power space with satisfaction. Starfire City has a dedicated mechanical department, and it is not a problem to make some warheads. Lei Guo. Chen Chu focused on the last reward. Thunder Fruit. It can strengthen the energy of lightning-type supernatural beings, and there is a 100,000th probability that the lightning-type supernatural powers will increase their talent by a small stage. Chen Chu scanned it the same way and extracted it directly. Of course this thing was given directly to Dad. Although it can promote the ability talent of the lightning-type ability user to a small stage. But Chen Chu didn't think much about it. After all, Dad's talent is already at the A+ level, and after a small stage of improvement, it is S stage talent. It's so easy to improve. And the probability is 1 in 100,000. Isn't this a joke? It's better to just not have this effect. Stuffed the palm-sized thunder fruit into his pocket. Chen Chu walked out of the practice room carrying the infinite stone. Go to the mechanical department and let the engineers inside start building the warhead. Afterwards, he immediately returned home. Pull Yi Miao and Da Chao and Xiao Chao into the bedroom, and start to study the 36 methods of the Deep Palace. Wow, what a different feeling. Woo, I've never experienced anything like this. Woo, my supernatural energy is increasing. Woo, a sleepless night. Early the next morning, Chen Chu took people to the gate of the city to welcome his father Chen Lei. From now on, father and son have not seen each other for 2 years. Ha 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 ha, the gate passage has just been opened. Chen Chu heard that familiar voice. The city gate opened, and a big hand immediately covered his shoulder. Ha ha ha, I'm back. The generous figure of the old man walked out of the passage. Chen Chu looked up. The old man was still domineering, his eyes bright. It's just that the beard on his face is thicker. Moreover, the strength has also become stronger. Father, you are stronger. Chen Chu smiled. Chen Lei put his arm on Chen Chu's shoulder. Isn't it simple for Dad to become stronger? He has broken through the middle stage of the 8th order. The lower the ability level, the harder it is to advance. It can be said that it is one step at a time. Unexpectedly, Dad was promoted to the middle stage within 2 years. Come. Chen Lei pulled out an ice blue fruit from his bosom as if by magic. He put the fruit in front of Chen Chu. Eat it quickly. Chen Chu's eyes stopped and his shoulders stiffened. Ice fruit. Dad found another ice fruit for him. That's right, I still have the image of an ordinary person in front of my father, so I naturally think of him everywhere. Chen Chu's heart warmed, he grinned, and swallowed the ice fruit whole. My father has good intentions, and the family doesn't talk about 2 things. When the fruit enters the stomach, bursts of cold currents are immediately produced in the body. Then came fiery. Ha! Chen Chu let out a long breath of white air. From now on, he can finally walk freely on the ground with his physical body. No, this is better than the effect of the ice fruit. Now I can even reach dangerous places with my body. Chen Chu immediately realized something was wrong. It's the ice pock fruit. Lu Ruyan, who came with him, said with a smile. It's an A-level extraordinary, the ice soul fruit. Boss spent half a year traveling outside for this fruit. For an ordinary person, with a grade A extraordinary. This is a very explosive existence in the entire last days. Grade A extraordinary. Even for S-level powerhouses and city lords of huge cities, they are extremely precious. If it is placed between large cities, that would set off a bloodbath. But Chen Lei didn't care about this. Isn't it normal for me to give my son something? With a big wave of his hand, he urged Chen Chu to take him to see his good grandchildren. I heard that I have 9 grandchildren now. Ha 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 ha. I didn't expect that my old Chen family's 8 generations of single-handedness will spread to your boy. And all 9 of them are supernatural beings. Take me to have a look, and make out with the little ones. Chen Lei strode towards the residence. Chen Chu shook his head with a smile and followed behind him. Chen Chu has been a man for 2 generations, so he naturally knows how much his grandparents love his grandchildren. The pockets of Dad's bulging coat were filled with rich and different supernatural energy. No need to guess, it's a gift for the grandchildren. Young Master Chen, arrange for your new concubine to wash up first, and learn the rules from Mrs. Yi Miao. Ruyan Lu talked about these arrangements beside Chen Chu in a low voice. Anyone with a discerning eye knows. Chen Lei has laid down such a large territory, it must be left to Chen Chu. And Chen Lei is a big man with a bold personality. Naturally, Lu Ruyan and the others came to tell and assist Chen Chu with these small matters. Chen Chu nodded. Originally, I was looking forward to the new concubine's room. But after seeing my father, I still want to catch up with my father more. After all, it's been 2 years since we saw each other. As the ice fruit, an advanced version of the ice fruit. On the way, Chen Chu expressed Xinjiang's doubts. He always felt that the ice soul fruit seemed to be more than simply increasing cold resistance. After all, this is an A-level extraordinary. It was comparable to dozens of ordinary ice fruits. Lu Ruyan carefully looked at Chen Lei in front of him. Lowering his body, he brought his red lips to Chen Chu's ear. Fragrant and spit lightly, ice soul fruit can bring a powerful freezing effect to the supernatural power, but Chen Xiao, you are not a supernatural person, so this effect does not exist. Lu Ruyan was afraid that Chen Lei would hear it. So almost the whole person was attached to Chen Chu. And the sound is thin and weak. Chen Chu heard it several times before he heard it clearly. I see. After Chen Chu heard it clearly, Lu Ruyan reluctantly retracted her upper body that was protruding forward. Chen Chu took a deep look at his father. This ice soul fruit, if the father swallowed it himself, then his combat power can also be improved to a higher level. But in order to be able to live a better life in the last days, he didn't have a word of nonsense and let himself swallow it directly. Chen Chu touched Lei Guo in his arms. Although this fruit is not as good as the ice pomegranate, but it is more or less my own mind. Find a time to give it to Dad. Subsequently, Chen Chu checked his property panel. He is already an S+ level supernatural user. Naturally, the special effect of the ice soul fruit can be added to the talent. Father didn't waste this fruit. Chen Chu smiled. Now he is only as strong as Dad. Talent S+ level space ability freezing. As expected, the effect of the ice soul fruit was successfully enchanted on the supernatural attribute. What is the effect of space system ability plus freezing? Chen Chu was a little curious. He is going to go to the practice room to experiment tonight. Inside the villa, after Chen Lei and Lu Ruyan arrived, they also exclaimed, "Huh." Chen Chu repeated the words he had prepared before. And the old man travels all over the world and has a lot of knowledge. And there is only fighting in my heart. I don't care much about these bystanders. Just a few casual compliments and immediately went to see my grandson. And Lu Ruyan had a strange expression and erratic eyes. Chen Chu smiled. The 3 basement floors are full of various simulated environments and entertainment rooms, you can go and play as you please. Father won't leave for a while. Is it really possible? Lu Ruyan showed a surprised expression. Chen Chu nodded with a smile. How could he not know Lu Ruyan's intentions? Sooner or later they are their own people. Lu Ruyan said thank you sweetly, and then walked cautiously towards the basement. And Chen Chu walked towards the hall. Where is the father teasing the children? Ha ha ha, good grandson, do you see what grandpa brought you? Chen Lei brought a silver blue fruit that was covered in cold mist to Chen Han. Chen Han is now more than 2 years old, and his height is directly abnormal to 1.4 meters. After seeing the silver blue fruit, his eyes immediately glowed with gold. He threw the toy in his hand, spit out the lollipop in his mouth, and rushed forward. Swallowed the silver blue fruit in one gulp. Bang! Immediately, countless ice crystals exploded from the body of the eldest son, Chen Han. Subsequently, a streak of ice began to spread from his body. The original 20-degree room immediately dropped to -10 degrees. A full 30 degrees of temperature difference. Detect the eldest son of the host, Chen Han, to be promoted to the second level ability user, feedback and reward. Detect the improvement of the host's eldest son Chen Han's physical fitness, and reward the feedback. 2 warm currents emerged from Chen Chu's body. Chen Chu felt the changes in his body. The ability has improved a bit, but it is not enough to break through. The physique has become more cold resistant. And Chen Lei, who was a strong man in the middle of the 8th rank, naturally also noticed the change in his grandson. He hugged Chen Han up. Ha ha ha, I'm a good grandson, but at the age of 2, he became a second-order supernatural being. After a successful promotion, Chen Han restrained his energy again. Like a little grown-up, say thank you grandpa. Chen Lei stabbed him with his beard. As expected of being my good grandson, what more do you want? Grandpa rewards you. A monstrous genius like Chen Han. If it is placed among any big forces, it will be cultivated desperately. What's more, he is the eldest grandson of the famous Thunder Tiger Chen Lei. Even if he wanted an 8th-level monster, Chen Lei would kill it and give it to him. Chen Han rolled his eyes. I want to kill monsters. I want to kill monsters. Chen Lei was taken aback for a moment, then laughed out loud. Okay, Grandpa will take you out to kill monsters in 2 days, and teach you how to fight. Chen Han has a proud record of killing mobs with his bare hands in the full moon. Chen Lei is also famous, one of the most powerful people in the entire Xi province. Go out and kill a few monsters, there is no problem at all. By the way, Chen Lei also plans to start training his eldest grandson, Chen Han. After putting Chen Han down, Chen Lei looked at the other 3 children with a smile. The eldest daughter Chen Nian, the second son Chen Mian and the third son Chen Shou. The remaining 5 children were all just born, and the oldest one was just 1 month old. And not as evil as Chen Han. Still in infancy, only these 3 children are over 1 year old and can walk and talk. The 3 children hid behind their mother, looking at the grandfather they met for the first time. Come here, come here. Chen Lei showed a smile that he thought was kind, but was actually a bit ferocious. But the 3 little guys are his grandsons after all. The throbbing of blood did not make them afraid of the 2-meter-tall man in front of them. Instead, it was posted. Ha ha ha. Chen Lei also felt the feeling of being full of children and grandchildren. He clasped his arms together and picked up all 3 children. After some intimacy, also took out the extraordinary fruits corresponding to the abilities of the 3 little guys and gave them to them. After the 3 little ones swallowed, Chen Chu also received immediate feedback. It is detected that the spiritual power of the eldest daughter of the host, Chen Nian, has improved, and the feedback reward, activate the spiritual consciousness. The blood evolution of the host's second son Chen Mian was detected, and the feedback reward, zombie virus resistance plus 5%. It is detected that the third son of the host, Chen Shou, has been promoted to a first-level ability user, and the feedback reward, defense plus 1%, ability increased by 1%. All 3 children have received some improvement. Especially the third son, Chen Shou, who was directly promoted to the first level of abilities. Chen Chu also got a bunch of feedback rewards. The best reward among them was provided by the eldest daughter Chen Nian. Open the consciousness. Consciousness is unique to those with spiritual abilities. It is also their core, which can store spiritual power. Let them stand proudly in the world. Chen Chu felt his divine consciousness. The location is between the eyebrows, a space the size of a nail shell. But now there is no spiritual power in it. It's a surprise to be able to activate the divine consciousness. It's an extra ability. I'll study it later. The offspring feedback reward was originally the weakest of all rewards. It is a big surprise that it can help him open up his consciousness, and its value is no less than that of an A-level extraordinary. Ha ha ha, are you Chen Shou? Chen Lei looked at the youngest but tallest Chen Shou. He sensed that the child's ability had broken through. Chen Shou nodded honestly. Ha ha ha, A-level Earth-type supernatural powers, our old Chen family has also produced a treasure. I have been struggling for these years in the last days. Chen Lei clearly knew what an Earth-type supernatural being meant to a force. It can be said like this. In the early days of the end of the world, most of the human race was saved by Earth-type supernatural beings. Do you want to go outside with your brother and grandpa to kill monsters? Chen Lei bent down and smiled at Chen Shou. Chen Shou glanced at Chen Han, who was beaming at him. Then nodded solemnly. Yes. Ha ha ha, good. Grandpa will take you to kill monsters. Chen Lei laughed. He took his 2 grandsons out to kill monsters. To put it bluntly, he was a top boss accompanying a novice to level up. The eldest son Chen Han is in charge of fighting. The third son, Chen Shou, has treasured abilities. It is necessary to bring both to leveling. As for Chen Yan and Chen Mian, it's not that Chen Lei is partial. The abilities of the two have another and better development route. He has sent someone to arrange it. After that, Chen Lei went to see the other 5 grandchildren who were still in their infancy. His smile never stopped, until it's bedtime for the grandkids. Chen Lei and Chen Chu were finally alone. The surrounding sites have been laid down. Within a year, Starfire City can develop into a giant city. Chen Lei lit his cigar, speaking proudly. Chen Lei told Chen Chu vividly everything that happened outside the past 2 years. Enemies encountered, territories laid down, supplies obtained. Acquired in the past 2 years. Much more than was achieved in the previous 20 years. I won't go out for the next year. Take good care of my grandson, and I will enjoy the blessings of everyone. Chen Chu smiled. My father is a man who can live at leisure. It is estimated that within a few days, things will start again. By the way, father has snatched 10 concubines' rooms for you this time, and you will be satisfied. Bag me. Satisfied. Chen Chu frowned. Dad, there is something in what he said. A level. Chen Chu approached and expressed his guess. Lu Ruyan revealed this before. Chen Lei grinned and said 3 shocking words. There are foreign girls. Chen Chu was startled. This thing is the surprise that Daddy said. It's different from what Lu Ruyan revealed. But, babes, are indeed a surprise. After all, Chen Chu doesn't know what it's like to be human for 2 lifetimes. Hurry up and take them all, kid. When they are successfully built into a giant city, Dad will give you better and more. Chen Chu's mouth twitched. I still have 10 concubines and haven't passed the door yet, so I thought about taking concubines for him again. Even with the 10 doors this time, I have 18 wives. Fortunately, every time an heir is born, his body will be fully improved. Otherwise, a macho man like him would have to struggle a bit. Father likes you. Chen Lei gave Chen Chu a thumbs up. He has seen his son's ability all these years. He even suspected that Chen Chu had actually awakened a supernatural ability, which was incomparably powerful, and entered the soul at once. After the two chatted about the past, Chen Lei was also about to get up and leave. After all, the entire Starfire City is still waiting for him to take charge of the overall situation. And the next month will be Chen Chu's big wedding. Father, here you are. Chen Chu took out the Lei Guo from his pocket. Chen Lei held it with his hand, and immediately sensed something was wrong. You boy, you can actually get such a thing. Chen Chu smiled. It's just luck. Chen Lei put Lei Guo away, and patted his shoulder with his big hand. Prepare well, starting tomorrow, the next month will be your big wedding. Suzaku clothing, colorful phoenix crown. 100 meters red carpet, 8 sedan chairs. Decorate with lanterns and festoons, beat gongs and drums. A grand wedding was held in Starfire City. Because of the improvement of Dad's strength, he dominated half of Zhonghai City. A large amount of supplies were transported into Starfire City. The pockets bulged. The grade of Chen Chu's wedding also went up naturally. And have a big feast. The whole city celebrates. Wine. There is wine. An exclamation came from the banquet. They actually drank wine in the last days. This is Bihan rice, bimmeat, no. Something more precious than fresh vegetables. You kid, take a small bite, everyone has a quota. Suck, yes, suck like this. I didn't expect that my old Zhong lived for more than 30 years in the apocalypse, and I can still drink alcohol. This life is worth it. Even if I die now, I am willing. What nonsense are you talking about? Young Master Chen still has 9 concubines to marry. It's not a loss to die now. That's right, I heard that the final concubine's room is A level. Don't talk about wine by then, maybe there will be smoke. Grade A will be our young Master Chen's concubine. Our Spark City is strong, really strong. Old Wang, didn't your little daughter just find out the awakening ability? Hurry up and marry young Master Chen, otherwise young Master Chen has high vision, and there will be no chance. My youngest daughter's awakened F class, I'm afraid young Master Chen won't like it. No, I'll ask someone. I can be a maid. In order to avoid suspicion, Lu Ruyan took off her red armor and put on a dark blue skirt with hips. It sets off like a dripping peach. She watched Chen Chu and the bride enter the wedding room with envy. Looking at the bustling Xingwo city, she touched her face secretly. I'm 25 this year, and I won't be young in a few years. I want to find an opportunity to express my heart to young Master Chen. Another person with the same idea as Su Lan. Under the shining silver-rimmed glasses, there is a pair of big watery eyes revealing worry. I'm going to be 30 this year. Will Ah Chu hate it? She looked down at herself inexplicably with a little inferiority complex. Although still strong. But Chen Chu married young, beautiful, stunningly beautiful women. After the age of 30, I really have no competitiveness at all. Although Chen Chu said all day long that he would marry him as his concubine, he couldn't go on like this forever. She secretly glanced at Chen Lei, who was drinking heavily. I plan to ask in the future if there are any new medical supernatural beings recruited. The door of the wedding room. Amidst the bustle of friends and relatives, Chen Chu led the bride into the room. The lock fell. Cheers came from outside the room. Chen Chu smiled slightly, and lifted the bride's red hijab. Golden hair, fair skin, dodging blue eyes. Is this the surprise that Daddy said? Really pleasantly surprised. Although this concubine's room is a foreigner, it belongs to Xiaoqiao style. Except for the high nose bridge and blue eyes, the rest are Oriental beauties. You know, the Westerners and the Eastern counterparts are all stunning. What's your name? Chen Chu raised her chin with his index finger. Xingyu. Xingyu looked at Chen Chu timidly. This expression evoked a pity in Chen Chu's heart. Xingyu, 23 years old, has a B-level special ability, Starlight Twinkling. Strength, the middle stage of the 4th level, both ability attack and healing. Chen Chu lowered his head and approached her. From now on, you are my concubine. A blush welled up on Xingyu's fair face, and she nodded timidly. Softly say, She had heard before that the son of the famous Leihuo was not only an ordinary person but also lustful. As soon as he turned 18, he married 8 concubines in a row. She was scared all the way to Starfire City. She was originally timid, afraid that the notorious Chen Chu would have some eccentricity. But after entering Starfire City, she found that Chen Chu's regular wife, Yi Miao, was generous. The other concubines also have their own characteristics, and they often smile. Especially Chen Chu's children, they are so cute. She herself was not abused. She thought that the rumors outside were a bit biased, and the atmosphere was obviously very good. And today's own wedding day, she became more certain of her thoughts. Then there are bad people who will show that the media is marrying the captive. And she also has a betrothal gift, a complete set of starstone armor. It's unbelievable. It's impossible for her to get such a high-end thing even if she works hard outside for 20 years. And just as she was getting ready, even if Chen Chu was a pig, she accepted his fate. It's better than being bullied and played with, a life worse than death. However, after seeing the real person Chen Chu, she fell. That handsome face, a powerful figure, and a noble and polite temperament. This is definitely the best-looking person with the most comfortable temperament of the opposite gender that she has ever seen in the apocalypse. Even if she is not captured, there is no dowry. A man who is willing to marry himself. She felt like she was suddenly hit by countless good fortunes. And now, the face that made him blush was less than a centimeter away from him. Rest earlier. Chen Chu turned off the lights. Xingyu pinched the corner of her clothes nervously and nodded slightly. After a while, husband, Xingyu called out the name that Yi Miao had taught her before with a trembling voice. From now on, she is Chen Chu's 9th concubine. Within the next month, Chen Chu married at the rate of marrying a concubine in 3 days. Dad has been away from home for the past 2 years, and he has indeed followed Sister Lan's previous standards for marrying a wife. Beautiful, clean and in good shape. Each concubine is the same stunning beauty, but with different styles. Like Xingyu, Hoi a little lowly. There are also youthful and passionate style, mature style of royal sister, sporty and pretty girl style, forest girl style. Always, Chen Chu eats both meat and vegetables these days, and is as happy as a god. And today, it was finally the wedding day for Chen Chu and his 10th concubine. To this concubine, there are countless versions of rumors circulating in the outside world. Some people say that she is an A-level power user. Some people say that she was once the lord of a large city. Some people say that her strength has reached the late 6th stage in her lifetime. And as the wedding grows bigger, and raging Fire City sent people to celebrate, these rumors gradually became accepted as true. Inside the villa, outside a new room decorated in red, Chen Chu took his last concubine and congratulated each other to the relatives and friends around him. But this time, Zhang Qingshui also came to Spark City. She was sent by her sister Zhang Fenju to express congratulations on behalf of Liehuo City a month ago. But I just arrived today. She still had that cold face. Here, sister's gift is reasonable. She handed out a square box. I really can't figure out why my sister would give such a high-level thing to this pervert. Chen Chu took it and opened it to take a look. B+ grade shaping fruit, a rare item that can strengthen the physique and even strengthen the internal organs. Ordinary people eat, and their physical strength can even be compared to those with supernatural powers in the department of strength. What a good thing. Chen Chu put away the box and smiled. A distinguished guest. He reached out and asked someone to take Zhang Qingshui with a frozen face to another place. Although I really want to catch up with Zhang Qingshui, who has a hidden physique at the SS level, and talk about life and ideals. But now, it's my wedding moment. A moment is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Close the door. He lifted the bride's red hijab. A beautiful face was exposed. This is a face that is more beautiful than the 9 concubines who were accepted before. And it has an indescribable charm. Just look at each other. Chen Chu immediately felt that his soul had been taken away. This is my final concubine. As soon as Chen Chu had an idea, the system responded immediately. Strength, 6th order late stage ability user, potential, S, ability, A-level charm magic power. This, Chen Chu looked at this line of entries in surprise. And, special power, A-level magical power. This charming woman in front of her has become her strongest concubine. Obviously, those rumors are true. My 10th new concubine is actually a powerful late-stage 6th order concubine. The strength of the late 6th order A-level is already able to be the lord of a large city in the last days. Moreover, her potential is still S. He is taller than himself. So, she might really be the lord of a large city. My family has met your husband. The concubine saluted generously. With just this simple movement, her mature figure almost exploded the exquisite wedding dress. Chen Chu's Adam's apple rolled slightly. He had a total of 18 concubines. Each of them is a beauty who is 1 in a million. Logically speaking, it is impossible for any opposite gender in the world to let him do this. But the woman in front of her did it. She obviously just stood there, doing nothing. It was as if there were countless hands scratching Chen Chu's heart. A frown and a smile are all amorous feelings. What's your name? Chen Chu asked. Oh Yueling. Oh Yueling's red lips parted slightly. Chen Chu's Adam's apple rolled again. Can't stand it at all. No man in this world can resist this style. This frown and smile is impossible to have without giving birth to a few children. Chen Chu even wondered if his father made a mistake. This charming woman, is she really a girl? Chen Chu thought for a moment. The lights were turned off. Anyway, it's my concubine's room, so why work so hard? He intends to risk his life to explore the tiger's den. Try your own concubine room for yourself. Is it as difficult as it seems? Husband, rest. Oh Yueling took the initiative to speak. As soon as Chen Chu stretched out his hand, he immediately felt a large number of supernatural abilities rushing towards him. A-level charm magic power. Chen Chu thought of the power of the concubine's room. From the name of the ability, he probably guessed something. Apparently the concubine's room is actually using the ability on herself. However, his own strength is already comparable to that of the 7th order late stage. Oh Yueling in the late 6th stage is obviously a piece of cake. Why aren't you here, husband? Seeing that Chen Chu was stunned, Oh Yueling's faint voice came. A smile appeared on the corner of Chen Chu's mouth. He wants to see what his lovely concubine wants to do. Chen Chu continued to walk forward. More and more supernatural energy began to invade him. But it doesn't work. Husband. Oh Yueling's red lips parted slightly. When Chen Chu was about to touch her, a cunning flashed across Oh Yueling's eyes. HMPH, Lei Huo actually dared to snatch my mother's supplies and occupy her territory. He also married his old lady to his son, even though his son is very handsome. But Lei Huo actually dared to let people find out that she was still a girl. Unforgivable. She has been in the last days for many years, relying on her supernatural powers and beautiful appearance. She has played with those stinky men time and time again. Lei Huo revealed her girlhood. Didn't he just smash her sign? Now she is going to make Lei Huo's son completely obsessed. Then he indirectly controls the entire Starfire city. She looked at Chen Chu with some pity. It's a pity for this handsome face. If it is a supernatural person, she would marry him and give herself up. However, her ideal person must be a hero of the world, not an ordinary person who is eating and waiting to die. In fantasy, enjoy your wedding night. Oh Yueling tapped her index finger, and a pink light suddenly appeared from her body. It's fantasy time. She released her skills towards Chen Chu. Just when the index finger was about to touch Chen Chu's forehead, a big hand passed pink light and grabbed Oh Yueling's tender arm. What happened? Oh Yueling's eyes panicked. Then she felt a heavy weight. There was an exclamation. Then, night fell. In the early hours of the morning, the Starfire city outside was still bustling. Because today is the wedding day of Oh Yueling and Chen Chu. The next day, Oh Yueling's messy hair was on her head, and her white arms were tightly grasping the bright red quilt. She glanced helplessly at Chen Chu, who was sleeping soundly. I want to cry but have no tears in my heart. What a pity, I really became the 18th concubine of this well-known little fool. It's too bad, I'm really not a girl now. What a pity, I surrendered so quickly. Besides being unable to defeat Thunder Tiger, I just wanted to control Chen Chu, and then control the entire Xingwo city. Well now, feed the tiger yourself. Just when Oh Yueling's mind was in a mess, thinking wildly, a big hand approached her. Ah, there was another exclamation. 2 hours later, Oh Yueling looked at the neatly dressed Chen Chu with resentful eyes. This little villain, where did she learn those moves? She was almost exhausted. And Chen Chu was smiling like a spring breeze. He just received a prompt from the system. It was detected that the host used the 36 methods of the Deep Palace in the concubine's room with a special physique, and successfully broke through. Current strength, late tier 6. And Oh Yueling's bridal chamber flowers and candles, unexpectedly broke through a big realm. The ability level directly spans a large stage and even a small stage. From the middle stage of the 5th stage to the late stage of the 6th stage. His overall strength has now reached the top level of the 7th rank. As long as it is not an 8th level powerhouse, it is invincible. After all, there is a natural barrier between the 8th and 7th ranks, and the difference in strength is more than 10 times. After calming down, Chen Chu set his eyes on his concubine Oh Yueling. He already knew now that Oh Yueling was stealing chickens and losing money. He looked amusedly at Oh Yueling, whose face was still flushed, but whose expression was unlovely. You are now my 18th concubine, Chen Chu said deliberately. Oh Yueling's body trembled, as if being shot by an invisible arrow. She raised her head and gave Chen Chu a forced smirk. Lost to Grandma's house. My own supplies, mine veins, and cold rice fields have all been taken. Now even himself is upside down. However, she dared not do anything to Chen Chu. As long as she dares to use an offensive ability, Chen Lei, who is an 8th level power user, will immediately strike her to death with lightning. This is Chen Lei's lair. She only dared to use the confusion skill quietly last night. After calming down, Oh Yueling took a deep look at Chen Chu. You are not an ordinary person. How can ordinary people crack her skills? Not only is she not an ordinary person, but her strength is above her. Unexpectedly, Lei Huo, with thick eyebrows and big eyes, would also engage in such methods. Oh Yueling clenched her fists, her teeth itching with hatred. My aunt fell down. Forget it. The 18th, little wife. She almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Chen Chu sat beside her. Thanks to you, my 18th wife, I just broke through again. Oh Yueling was dumbfounded. Thanks to myself, breakthrough. Feel the pain in the lower part. She suddenly looked at Chen Chu in fear. Could it be that Chen Chu awakened some outrageous ability, which is why Leihuo has been hiding it for so many years? So Chen Chu has been crazy about taking concubines. Ah, Bo Yueling screamed suddenly. A power that can be broken through by capturing Moon Yin. It's too bad, I just lost it, so I'm about to die. Chen Chu immediately covered her mouth. It's so loud in broad daylight. When people outside heard it, they thought what they were doing. Run the power to see. Chen Chu suddenly said. Hey, I have been promoted to the 7th rank. Bo Yueling was stunned. How did I break through? From the 6th level to the 7th level, I have been stuck for almost 5 years, why did I suddenly break through? You have a special physique. After the bridal chamber, not only will my energy surge and break through, but you will also break through yourself. I tried a few more times afterwards, and the energy didn't increase as much as the first time, but it was better than practicing hard by myself. Now I'm going to teach you a skill called the 36 techniques of the Deep Palace. If you combine it with your physique, the effect will be even better. Stop barking, do you understand? Bo Yueling blinked her big tear-stained eyes and nodded non-stop. Chen Chu loosened his hand slowly. Bo Yueling's beautiful eyes, which were dry from crying, now looked at Chen Chu with bright lights. She keeps running abilities. Bursts of pink light continued to emerge from her, blooming. Really, she really broke through to the 7th level. Achieve the coveted 7th order powerhouse position in one fell swoop. Her beady eyes rolled slyly, and she put her hands together, showing love to Chen Chu. Husband, please look at the servant's house. A pink heart rushed towards Chen Chu from Bo Yueling's hands. Bo Yueling's red lips parted slightly, and her voice was charming. Petrochemical. She released skills on herself again. This stupid 18-year-old wife really has no memory at all. The corner of Chen Chu's mouth curled up, directly breaking through her ability. Get ready to teach the 18-year-old wife a lesson. And what he didn't expect was that. After love is Bo Yueling herself. A moment later, Bo Yueling leaned next to Chen Chu, her eyes full of admiration. Husband, it's true, the ability has really increased. Face this pair of winking eyes. Even Chen Chu, who was an upright and real man, couldn't help shivering. My own 18-year-old wife. That was horrible. Hey, husband, didn't you say that it would be more effective if combined with the 36 techniques of the Deep Palace? Husband, can you teach me? Let's try together. Looking at the suddenly enthusiastic Bo Yueling, Chen Chu turned his head sideways, lit a farong wong and put it in his mouth. A tear rolled down the corner of his eye. If this allowed her to learn the 36 methods of the Deep Palace, would it be okay? Quickly put out the cigarette butt. Chen Chu got up straight away and opened the door. It's already noon, I'll teach you another day. Finding a random reason, Chen Chu ran away immediately. He is still his first wife, Yi Miao, who is gentle, and his 9th wife, Xingyu, is still a cute little beauty. HMPH. Bo Yueling shook her fist against Chen Chu's back. It looks like the plan has succeeded. Verbal victory is also victory. Bo Yueling buried her head in the quilt. My husband is not only handsome, but also a real man. And the strength is very strong, but at the age of 20, he is actually stronger than his current self. She had just released the petrification skill, just to test whether Chen Chu's strength was stronger than herself, which was already at the 7th level. The result is as one wishes. Chen Chu easily neutralized her attack. Handsome and wealthy, young and promising, with abilities beyond the 7th level. This is definitely Bo Yueling's favorite person. What's more, he was already his. Adding these together, it would be even more desperate. But, my 18th wife. Bo Yueling gritted her teeth angrily. Where have you ever heard of an A-level 7th order supernatural powerhouse being someone else's 18-year-old concubine? Grandma wants to grow up. Bo Yueling has a goal. I want to get more love from my husband. Husband, you are exhausted. This is the ginseng and antler chicken soup I made for you. Hurry up and replenish your body. Yi Miao brought a bowl of nourishing soup to Chen Chu with a smile, then stood behind him and gently pressed the top of his head for him. If it was before, Chen Chu would definitely dismiss it. But now, he took it immediately, raised his head and took a sip. This special physique is really amazing. Chen Chu couldn't help but sigh. Bo Yueling, as an A-level charmer, has some charm attributes. And her special physique is even more powerful. Even someone as strong as Chen Chu couldn't resist. When I first saw the S-level potential, I should have guessed her physique. Yes, don't even think about it. This S-level potential is all reflected by the physique. The 18th little wife Ouyueling's special physique is more powerful than her talent. But the strength has increased a lot. Chen Chu breathed a sigh of relief. Although the active Ouyueling is very strong, but her initiative also increased the number of abilities added. From then on, it can be regarded as a stable source of growth. In the past, Chen Chu was promoted to a higher level, basically by obtaining offspring rewards. But heirs can't be born in a short while. Always go through the process of pregnancy in October. Now that there is Ouyueling, he can increase his abilities every day. If this continues, I will be able to break through to the 7th step in less than half a year. Chen Chu smiled confidently. The 36 methods of the Deep Palace plus Ouyueling's special physique. It is simply a breakthrough weapon. But think of 18 little wives. Chen Chu felt helpless. His body, which he had strengthened several times, was not beneficial in front of Ouyueling. If the physical fitness is stronger, then the number of daily practice with Ouyueling can also increase. One's own strength can also grow faster. And the way to strengthen the body is more children and more blessings. He set his sights on his own wife and concubine. For the revival of mankind. Evening. The whole villa is quiet. Chen Chu walked into the practice room with his waist supported. B-level extraordinary object, Dao sculpting fruit. A congratulatory gift from Zhang Qingshui appeared in his hand. Sure enough, Sister Fenju understands me. Plastic fruit. It can strengthen the strength of every part of the body, even the internal organs. The 5 stomachs and 6 internal organs will be strengthened. Swallow the palm-sized Dao plastic fruit in one gulp. The pulp and juice enter the stomach along the throat. In an instant, Chen Chu felt his stomach turned into a small furnace. Fiery pain filled every internal organ, and explode from the inside out. Flesh, tendons, bones, skin. After an hour, Chen Chu, who was drenched in sweat, opened his eyes. His current overall strength is comparable to the 7th order limit, and he naturally understands his physical condition extremely well. Shook his fist. There was surprise in Chen Chu's eyes. The strength of the body has increased by 40%, the strength of the internal organs has increased by 20%, and the endurance has increased by 30%. Now, just find the 18th little wife Ouyueling. Jia Jia Jia. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.